Hello and welcome to another episode of Straight Outta Stanton, a podcast or YouTube talk show where Mr. Muscast and me, Jeff Chag, talk about Star Citizen. All things Star
That's never
Citizen.
gonna die.
Yeah, no.
YouTube talk show.
Until we
Thank you,
become
Reddit.
a proper podcast
Yeah.
per Reddit standards, we're going to be
per
a YouTube.
Reddit standard. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody should tell Salty Mike that his ATC isn't an actual podcast.
Yeah. We should start doing it.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pop
Should
into
be
his, like,
a
if I'm up
guest.
early.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a guest telling you know what you're doing. This is not really a podcast, brother.
This is not a podcast.
I'll tell you something, Maso. I have been streaming for a long time. It's kind of off topic, but it's interesting, I think. I've been streaming for over 3 years now, full time, and I am feeling more and more comfortable in this format of podcasting, and I've been listening more and more podcasts over the past couple of years, where I am slow. I'm back at my like physical, like I go for jogs and long walks and whatever, which gives me a lot of serene time to think about, everything. And I see myself, because I'm not gonna like stream games for the rest of my life, you know what I mean? Like that, but I am seeing myself as doing like 3 podcasts a week or something on different topics in like, I don't know, 5+ years, where
Yeah, man.
in that case I am definitely going to look into proper options, maybe host my own web page so that I can just get the little tiny files that I can then distribute and whatnot. I love
honestly,
podcasts, man.
Yeah, well, and it's like, especially if I were you and doing this full time, like personally, I podcasts are what I like. The only reason I'm not doing more than one right now is just because it it takes a lot of time, right? But like,
It takes a lot of time. But if that's the only thing you do,
exactly,
and
like
I'd
if
be
that's what
okay
you're
with
going to use
like
your time on, but
maybe doing podcast Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then stream Saturday, Sunday. Still gives you 2 days a week where you can like live.
have that live interaction too, and then
Oh
have some
yeah.
time
That's
on.
I mean I love that. Like I will always have that. But you can have like 2-3 hours long streams where you can just chat with people who are watching your podcast or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Like I kind of started doing or like floated the idea with some of my like science minded buddies about
That
like
was
doing
good.
absolute zero effort science podcast, like as its own kind of thing, and obviously not focused around but honestly, like, and my buddy Ed has been bugging me like, hey, when are we going to do that again? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think I have the time or the energy to do that right now. But yeah, like if you're just doing content creation full time, then that would be my choice anyways, because it's my
Podcasts are becoming a really big thing, like in general.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyways, this is not a podcast about podcasts.
We didn't even get through the intro and we tangented.
I like this. I like this. Where I like when I well, back to what we were just talking about. Like when I listen to a podcast, if they start off with some like chill stuff that is not on point immediately, it just makes me easy into the podcast anyway. So I don't think people care about that. That's fine. But
let us know in the comments if you if you care about this shit.
Also, use Manscaped or whatever.
And now a word from our sponsors.
I don't think that's ever gonna happen. Yeah, I don't think that's ever gonna happen with this one.
Never.
Okay, so I played Star Citizen this week.
I did not.
Yeah, I know, but I did, and and so I wanted to test the trading to see if it works or not. And good news is that it works. I did fly my Caterpillar, and I did manage to buy, not like I haven't had a situation where I can like buy all 476, I think, SU of titanium and sell it, but whatever I would buy I was able to sell. So usually I would buy about 350 SU of titanium and like few SU of laranite. I think that's okay.
That's pretty normal. Yeah, that's pretty normal.
Especially considering the fact that trading was dead for a whole patch and a half. And so people are actually trading now. We know these are, across all the servers. So the stuff is shared. And And yeah, whenever I would have my cargo full of stuff, I would be able to go to. I prefer going to TDD. I know it's not smart, but I just like landing into. I hate that run, man. From
That's
in
exactly it.
Lorville,
Personally,
I can't.
I think the run is really not as bad in TDD
No,
as
yeah.
CBD.
I think the colors as well are more vibrant, and I just I don't know. It's just easier for me to do that mentally, I guess. But anyways, it works. However, I had a lot of issues. I
Did you
want to
have
report,
issues? Really? Issues in Star Citizen? No.
but listen to this. I did not have a single 30K still this whole patch. Like it did not happen. So
That's
I'm
cool.
happy to report that. That's fucking amazing. Now we know already that this is always a personal experience. There are patches when I have a horror, in
Mm.
my game, and then someone else is like, "Oh my god, the best patch ever! It's stable and all that." So I don't know what this, like right now I'm having a really good time with that. However, I'm I'm experiencing some other stuff. Um, so to put it into like a picture, I spawned my caterpillar, went to load it up. I had someone stalking me. This was not live on stream. This was off stream, right? So like I was just sitting watching something on YouTube and playing, and there's this guy following me every step. I don't know what so I tried like debating him into a wrong, hanger, all the stuff you can
Oh
do.
yeah, yeah,
And then
yeah,
I
yeah.
finally lost him, and I made it to my ship, and I called the elevator, and the elevator pushes me underground
Oh no.
and despawns my ship. So I spawn the ship again. I go to the elevator, call in the meantime, another person with the same armor with me was there. So this guy started following them, thinking it was me. And so I make it to the cat. I call the elevator. I'm careful now. I wait for the elevator to go down. I walk onto the elevator, fall down underground again. Despawns the
Shit.
ship. Luckily, when this happens, you don't get a timer.
I wonder if
So
that's the physics grid stuff
I
that they.
think I think this is because of the trolleys. So that the elevator push things under instead of exploding.
Hmm.
But the problem is, like, as you approach it, if you don't jump on it, you're gonna fall down. Now I don't know if this is a
Okay.
caterpillar thing or
I-
pirate caterpillar thing, because I tried with Mantis and I never had any issues. And Mantis
Okay.
has the same, you're right, so it's not that.
Well, yeah. The only thing I was thinking of is that like if there was some physics grid issues or something like that, and like the way that the physics grids now can mesh, I was wondering if there was like maybe something that was wrong with the meshing of the physics grids when that
But
elevator touches the ground or
but you know
something like
that
that.
the elevator on Caterpillar does not hold cargo or anything like that, right? So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
shouldn't have any issues with this. However, the problem was I finally make it after 5 tries. I make it. I fly to Layton, and go all the way down, drop the elevator, and as I walk off, I fall through the ground.
Hmm.
And at that point, I alt F4'd. I was like, I'm done with this shit.
Yeah,
So
no shit.
tomorrow I did it again, now knowing what's happening on stream. And
Can I
everything
interject for
was
1 second? Just
yeah.
because I think it's funny when people try to like get into your ship by just basically tugging, like coming into your elevator and shit like
Yeah.
that. Last time, what I did is I just went to the console, summoned a ship that I didn't really care about, let him come in the elevator with me, ran to my
Close him.
ship, opened the door, and then just ran back to the elevator and summoned the ship I want once he was in that
Yeah,
one. Like, there you go.
I just didn't
You
have
can
it in
have
me
that
to deal
ship.
with it. But yeah, I know, and sometimes I'm that person that sneaks into your ship.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's fun.
Well, whatever. I mean, like I said, I mean, you do what you want, but like,
Exactly.
fine. If you really want to like hijack a ship, here you go. Here's a
Yeah,
ship you can hijack.
but I don't.
I'm gonna go back and
I
get.
want you on board as well. But I'm not
Yeah,
like this guy. I will do it in a stealthy way so you don't know I'm there. If you do, then I'll say, well, bye. But what I want to say, I was not like pissed off at this guy or anything. I just didn't have it in me
yeah,
at that point. That's all. If I was streaming at that time, let's go content, whatever.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
fine. Anyways, tomorrow I did everything like more careful, where I would jump on the platform and then I went to. Well, first I tried normal because I thought maybe it's a server, but it's not. So the same thing happened. I just walked into it, fell straight down, and then respawned the ship. Went to and here's the problem. Like, what if this? I was under so much pressure. Like, I made it to Layton. I jumped out of the ship, fell through, respawned back at the station, took the mantis, flew back. The ship did not despawn though. That's kind of crazy. I had to reclaim the ship, like I go back into it so that the game understands it's my ship, because it did not show on the trading console. Did not give me an option to buy stuff. And then I had a ship full of cargo, and I was like, fuck, man, if I fall through now, I've lost like half my money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this goes back to why trade even. It's ridiculous. This is just another addition to it. Now, just keep in mind, this might be a specific Caterpillar or even more specific pirate Caterpillar issue. I guess
Still,
there's
though,
not many
like
of them, but I don't
that's I think that is still valid to say, like, why trade, because like it's these
Yeah.
sorts of bugs and server issues and whatever else that make trade extremely risky,
Yeah.
especially in light of the fact that it right now anyways you can just hop in a light fighter and go
Anything,
smack
yeah.
bounties
Surveillance or
for
bounties or whatever.
hundreds of thousands of credits,
It,
an hour
it's just if
more.
you like doing it, but then if you're just doing it for
Yeah,
the fun of it, don't
that
trade. Just trade scrap or something. You know what I
scrap.
mean?
Yeah,
Don't.
exactly.
There's no need to do
That's what I'm
something.
planning on doing when I get the Herc, because
Yeah.
like I want to do some space trucking. I want to fly that Hercules. I'm not going to do anything valuable because for the most part I'm not going to be doing it to really make money. I'm just going to be doing it to do some space trucking and fly my Hercules.
Yeah. But it
But
works.
yeah,
The profit, on the other hand, I think I made like almost full Caterpillar of titanium. I made like 20,000-30,000 or something, and I was like,
yeah.
okay, bye.
Welcome to the old days.
Yeah, it
But
just
missions
makes no
used to be
sense.
less, right? Like missions used to be less than that. Like
Well,
that used to be the
that's what it
lucrative
is,
way
right?
to earn
If
cash.
that's a lot of money a lot of money, or it's all about like in comparison with our things. Like, this is why I can't, and it's kind of, I don't know how to express myself about this. Like, I know it doesn't matter, it's alpha, but it just makes
Yeah.
the feeling of wasting time is just not a good feeling.
It's not a good feeling, no.
That's all.
Yeah, so, like, if you've decided that you are going to play this game to make some money, even
Mm.
though you know it doesn't matter, when you lose that money, it does suck.
We do,
I
like,
mean, I
as humans, we
still
like to be efficient, and especially in games, right?
well,
So,
and I still think there's some validity to what we said last week, I think, where like we said, like, it's an alpha, it doesn't matter, chill out. Like, there's some validity to that, but also at the same time, like you said, like, if you feel like your time's being wasted, then you're not going to want to play the game.
exactly.
So even if I'm not going on and raging on Spectrum because whatever, I still am just not going to want to play the game if that sort of time wasting punishment is
I just don't want to leave
too
my
much.
gaming time with like shitty feeling. That's all I get.
Yeah.
I wanna
Now
feel good after playing the game.
this kind of ties into like one of the things on our news, which was that PVE bounties apparently in 3.13.1 patch notes are saying that you can't be QT'd to. So that could, like, that right there could lower bounty profitability to, well, I still think it'll be more profitable than trading, but but like it definitely, if that'll take it down a notch, you're definitely not going to be making as much per hour
Mm.
if it's taking you I don't
No,
know, 10
that's a
minutes to
big
get your
change.
bounty.
Like the it's not only, I guess a lot of people will think about it as just like, oh man, now I have to, it's more time, but it is important to have, even now. I mean, these are just sliders, numbers, whatever, to have like
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
balance
Yeah.
between ways to earn money, because that's the only end game. Buy another ship, you know what I mean? So I would say it's like a step in a good direction, but we have to see how it goes with the other stuff. Cause like doing the cargo missions, and I was asking for this, like delivery missions. Sorry, not cargo. which is amazing. I like flying it, but only we talked about this. Only if there's
Mhm.
like, you know what I mean? Like if I'm gonna spend an hour to make 20,000, then yeah, no, I'm not. I'm in the end, I'm not gonna do it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, well, especially if there's better options, right?
yeah,
Like that's really what it comes down to is are there better options? And right now there absolutely are. Um,
I guess also there's not enough things for you to not know that there's a better option. So we are following the alpha project, so we know everything. So
yeah,
it's like, man, I know that my alpha AC per hour is just like I'm literally stabbing myself in the back or in the foot here. Like, okay, maybe
yeah,
not in the back. Because you're
be
still
pretty hard.
making money, you know, like you're gonna spend like 3 hours to make 100K. It's money, you know.
Yeah.
But in 3 hours, I can make 500 or 600K doing surveillance missions with no, losses or anything, no risk.
Yeah, absolutely no risk. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, that's a thing. I didn't play this week. I just didn't have it in me. But I
dude,
will
you're
say
you're
that like
still in Valheim like big time.
well, okay, that is the other thing is I started up a dedicated server for my brother and one of my good friends and we've been playing multiplayer like from scratch again and that
Did it
has been a
elevate the
lot of
game?
fun.
Mm.
Yeah, it really does. Like, I mean, it's fun. I still had fun solo, but like multiplayer is like certain things go faster. Um,
Like gathering?
yeah, like gathering and mining, like and stuff like that. But it just simply like work. I love that feeling of like working as a team to do something. You know what I mean? So it's like okay, here are our goals. We need this and this and this. We need to build a base, and we like, and it's fun to kind of like coordinate with other people on that. I really love that kind of thing. So yeah, that's been basically the extent of my gaming time this week has been just having fun again with plus it also like I haven't seen my buddy Steve in a long time now because COVID and shit. So it's been pretty good to hop on and play some games with him. So that's been my week
Fair.
and I don't regret it. It's been fun too because I was able to kind of like do things a little differently than I did in single player, play with different weapons that I didn't really play with, and stuff like that, and rescue my brother. Well, and everybody, because that's the thing, right? Like we talked about how Valheim can be a little punishing when you're not expecting, when you're not expecting it to be necessarily. So there's
Mm.
definitely been situations where, you know, you're trying to guide these new players, but inevitably, like it's a game where when you make a misstep, the game smacks you,
Yeah,
and
and that's a valuable experience as well.
yeah. So it's been like definitely like our first play session or second play session or something was pretty much just like spent going around the world trying to get everybody's shit back that they lost because they
Yeah.
strayed too far from base and got,
The thing is that
smoked by
fear,
a
you played it on your own and you know how brutal it is.
oh yeah,
And
yeah.
then you're like, fuck, will if this happens to someone else, will they stay in the game, you know?
Well,
Did they
I'm
get
surprised.
hooked? Did they get hooked enough? But in reality,
I'm
if the game is good enough, and it is because it sells so much, then they should
yeah.
be hooked. That's it.
I still am. Like my brother died over and over and over, and I was surprised he was still there because like I was at work when this was happening or asleep or something like that.
You were getting
And
messages or
well,
something.
I woke up to like to some message that were just like, oh god. I ended up
Mhm.
like wait, he grabbed a boat and went exploring or whatever, but ended up in a biome that was way too high level
Yeah.
for him and just got owned. Then went back to try to get his shit and got owned, and then brought Steve to go, jump down there and get his stuff, and they both got owned. And like, and just and then I was like, okay, it's okay. When I get home from work, I'll jump on my main character and we'll go. I'll go
Yeah.
clear it. But again, I'm distracted. Again, like I misstep and I get smacked down or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
like, anyways, so
This is
that was
why
my
full
week.
loot is just fun, man. I am
Yeah,
following
it
New
was. Yeah,
World
it
big
was.
time, and I know now that they decided not to go with full loot, even though that was the idea, and that part of me was super sad about it because
ah, I'm not
it's a really
really.
good feeling. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
love
don't know.
that.
You're right. That risk is fun, but
Yeah,
it can be fun anyways, and
it can be
sometimes
super
it's
frustrating, but
exhausting.
like
But yeah,
it's also
but
very
like
rewarding. So I don't know.
and like I feel bad. I feel bad because like like after going around and clearing all this up, I was a little bit snappish. Plus, it was like Friday night, and I was like, yeah, I'd had a little bit to drink. Like I was just like, "Are you serious?" We still, like. But it's been pretty fun. So that's what I've been doing. That's my
Cool.
week. I haven't been
I'm
playing
kind of
Star
sad. Like, I
Citizen
would
because
certainly
this has been
enjoy
too much fun.
that game. They just need to release it. The moment they release it, I'm gonna buy it. But
Well, you know what? Like the more I'm playing it, the more I'm seeing that there are like a lot of the survival things that you don't like having to eat frequently and stuff like that. I could see that pissing you off in this game,
it
but
depends on the game. Sometimes it depends on the game.
there are definitely aspects that I think you would really like, and
I
one
know
of
I
them
know a
is
lot about
the
the game.
is the
Like
ships.
half of my community is playing it, so
Yeah,
and asking me why am I not playing it, and the answer is always the same: release the game, motherfuckers, and I'll play
yeah,
it. I'm being a dick about it, but I'm done supporting unreleased projects.
yeah. Again, I mean, like I am too. If it feels broken and not having fun, but frankly, like from what I've seen right now, this could be a full game. Like they could just
I
release it
know
now,
that's what I
and
want. Like,
and
just release it, release it,
like I
and be
would still
responsible for
consider
it,
it.
and that's it.
I mean, look at how many fucking hours I have this thing
I
now.
know,
100,
I know.
178 hours in, and this is the incomplete game. Like, I don't know, like, yeah. Anyways, so there's me again for the how many weeks running have we been doing this? Like, what have we done in game? And I'm like,
Playing
Valheim.
Valheim. Yeah. All right, let's go to news. We actually had we had a packed week, dude. We actually had a lot of stuff
Yeah, and I'm
happening.
surprised by that. Like, I didn't expect this kind of coming into this, but then we got like it seemed like they just dumped all this on us at the end of the week.
I think, Maso, honestly, I think they can feel that they're crossing the line. That
Maybe
something has to happen right now, because
I
so they have the marketing team and all that we're not going to talk about, but like
yeah.
apart from that, their main exposure is through streams in YouTube, right? Which is free exposure, basically free marketing, right? And people
Yeah.
are just, they can't, even the most dedicated content creators are struggling with how to
Yeah,
come up
and
with
like
something.
and normally I would say that this is normal. This happens every year. In fact, most content creators would as well, but I will say that this drought seems like it's different. In that most of your big content creators are expressing just complete burnout, more so than I've seen in past years. And like I've been through this content drought a few times, so yeah.
It's very bad. Anyways, so to I don't know if, like, it doesn't matter if, regardless if it's good or bad, or we got something. Like, there's some news, there's
Yeah,
some information,
totally.
and
Actually,
then
I think a lot of it's good.
they brought big guns as well, because I think they just need it. I'm not specifically excited about this, but yeah, it's good that something is happening. All right, so let's start with ISC. Um, so the armor team. I My note is meh. I
Yeah,
just don't fucking care about armor.
I would have cared about armor, and this is the note I added to here is that if they had more detail on armor version 2 or V1, I guess, instead of V0, which we have right now,
Yeah.
that would have been interesting because like we've heard them talk in the past about drastic changes to armor, really differentiating different suits of armor, different advantages and disadvantages for combat focused armors, utility focused armors, etc. If they'd have given us an update on that, this would have been great.
I mean, I
Like
feel
I'd
like
have
they
been all.
can't give you any specific updates on armor until we get it like properly physicalized,
Well,
right?
I mean, I guess, but like a lot of what they were talking about was primarily statistical changes. Instead of just armors just giving you a flat,
Wait, in this
damage
ISC,
reduction
or like in general about armor V2?
previously.
Ah, okay.
Previously. Um like where they're planning on going with armor, like would it be T1 or whatever.
Yeah, the
Like,
next version of armor, like the proper
yeah,
one.
like physicalized obviously is something that they're going for, so maybe that's why we haven't heard it. But mostly what they talked about was just differentiating between the armors more rather than just like light, medium, heavy, you know,
Yeah, I know, I know.
and then like static kind of like damage resist uh,
Uh,
uh values, like that would have been interesting, but that wasn't this.
the this ISC was, if I'm being honest, and not like Star Citizen fanboy, it's disgusting. The big plus
Oh,
for me is Jeremiah Lee. I love that guy. He's amazing.
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go so far as to call it disgusting.
I think it is
Just
because
meh.
they were talking about the concept armor that doesn't do anything special and that
Mm,
they are selling. So
yeah,
this is a
yeah.
strictly marketing ISC. And let's go back to like we didn't get a proper ISC for like now 6 weeks.
I guess so.
Like so we had
What-
404, which is bullshit, right? Then we had 4 weeks of drought. Then we have
yeah.
last week's IC, which was nothing. Then we have this week's IC, which is literally marketing. And I'm like,
Sort of. You had some stuff thrown in there which was interesting when they talk about they talked about like the very specific survival suit, like the one that was like the cloth and like had like heat vents and stuff. That's neat, but that's all it really is. Like
I
I
mean,
wouldn't say
they added
they
a little bit
threw some
of
they
things.
threw some marketing in here. They threw some marketing in here and like we're selling
They
this armor, but
threw
like
some.
even that's nothing new. They've been selling armor for how long now?
Well,
Years.
actually, I think this is very new, and I don't like it because this time they're selling a concept of armor. Have they done that before?
Oh.
Because that
Oh, I
armor does
didn't
not
know that it was a
exist.
concept.
That does
I
not
thought it was like,
exist. The gray cat shit, like it doesn't exist. It's a concept.
oh, okay. Yeah, that
And you can buy
I
it.
don't
You
know.
can buy it right now. You can buy JPEG of this armor. Like it's not another we're buying JPEGs of the ships. Now we can buy
That might
JPEGs of armor. And that's why I'm disgusted by this episode.
okay. I don't know. We'll have to check with some of the people who've been like subscribers for longer because honestly, I never pay attention to the armor that's for sale and shit like that. It's just not interesting to me. Um, but if you're watching this and you've seen them sell a concept of the armor before, let me know in the comments because as far as I'm aware, that's never that's never happened. This might be a new low.
And it's coming at a
uh,
wrong time. However,
it,
people like Jarun are probably blasted by it. It's the best thing ever. I know, right? But it probably has all all the variants of it. You know what I mean? But like in reality, this is just not good. I don't know. The armor itself looks good, obviously, especially
well, yeah,
since it's a concept.
it's Star Citizen. It always looks good.
And
Yeah.
one thing that I really like is they showed how if you have a set of the same armor, then additional things appear. So let's say there was like a tube, like air tube or something, that if you're using like only chest piece or only head piece, you don't see it. But if you combine these two, then the tube also appears because these two armor set pieces, complete each other. And I thought that's interesting because I like set pieces in other MMOs, but usually it's
Mm.
like completing the green text, like it adds this, and that. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought
yeah.
it's like a funny approach to like because we don't have these things probably, like there's not gonna be set piece armor or whatever. But maybe if you have like these two set pieces, it gives you more, I don't know, air, extended air, whatever, outside because it adds like a connection between them or whatever crap, instead of being just temperature or whatnot
Oh my god, they want $15 for this
for
suit of
for
armor.
JPEG,
And
not for the
Armor
suit
will
of armor,
develop
for
this.
JPEG.
Interesting. Hmm.
Maybe PNG, I don't know.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not going to tell people how to spend their money, but that seems a little crazy to me. $114 for the Gray Cat Miners Mega Pack.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know,
I'm
man.
just Yeah, well, okay. People are going to spend money if they want to spend money.
I mean, I
I
want people to spend money, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah. I'm
It
not
just,
interested in that.
I don't know.
But
Anyways,
it does. I get where you're coming from though, right? Like we've had the 4 weeks of ISC off. We've had
the week before that we have
an April
404.
1st,
Yeah.
the April 1st, ISC, and then this one, which is primarily a marketing push to sell a concept of armor. Yeah, okay, I see where you're coming
And
from.
the
I
problem
still just
is that
maybe I'm just
ISC is
jaded.
our source. Well, my source of
Yes.
information.
Yeah.
Um, calling all devs or inside Star Citizen, no, sorry, Star Citizen Live. It's more of a hit or miss of like it's almost like a podcast kind of. I never expect much on Fridays, but Thursday is when I get my feed, and the game is in drought, and this is like I'm just getting fed bullshit. It's okay, but to be fair, this IC is more of like Star Citizen Live, right? Like that's where I
Yeah.
would expect this. I would expect Jeremiah Lee to sit and like draw this armor, and be like, "Hey, this
That's
will be in
true,
the
yeah.
store, right?" And I'm okay with that because I get to listen Jeremiah Lee, you know, talking shit to this
Disco,
Colando,
yeah.
and that's
Yeah,
always a
yeah,
good
yeah.
banter. And then he's gonna draw little pictures of him and whatnot. And I'm cool with that. I don't mind that. But ISC, really, I don't want this to be ISC. I don't know, but that's just me. I mean, I'm sure some people loved it, so it is what it is.
Yeah,
Um,
I guess so.
they
Yeah,
showed
but
something else.
the last that's what I was gonna say is like the first part, okay. I confess I wasn't super interested in it. But the last part had some neat stuff. I mean, it's still just kind of like pictures of up and coming, like what's up and coming in Orison, but man, I don't know. Like
Is
there
it?
was a
It's kind
shot
of
there
scary
where
that it looks like that still, and we were supposed to have Horizon already, like for
well,
months,
Orison's
right?
coming in two phases. It's coming in two phases though.
I know, but like it feels so far off.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's good. I'll give them that.
That
We talked
factory
about
floor
this.
though, where you see the C2s just like lined up as they're in the production, that's cool. That's
To
cool.
ease listeners into it. So basically, we talked about this before. We were wondering if because Orison is a place where Crusader ships are being built, and we were wondering in a couple of episodes before if we are going to be able to see the factory, if we're going to see the process of ships being compiled and whatnot. And the answer is yes. So basically, we saw shipyard dry dock almost. I don't know how to call it in space. I don't know.
Yeah,
Through the
I guess.
window,
Yeah.
right through the window, and you can see some hull of C2 being fitted. And one thing that really engraved into my mind was you will be able to see ships flying in and out like cargo ships delivering parts,
Yes.
which is fucking amazing. Now,
So
I don't think
that
there's gonna
makes
come now, right? But the
no,
idea
no.
of it is so fucking cool. Which
I do love the idea of potentially having a mission to haul, like parts
oh,
down to the Crusader shipyards, or even just going there to like offload your mined materials or something like
but I
that
think
would be
that
cool
they were
just to mix
talking
things
about
up.
NPCs more, like NPC ships coming in and out.
Sure, sure. But still, I mean, like in theory, if it's using the Quanta system, somebody
You
who's not
should
an
be
NPC
able,
would be
yeah.
able to do that as well. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. Or potentially cool. Could be cool. um
It just makes the game so much more alive if you have NPC ships doing something other than uh telling you
you know
that
what?
you're an asshole when you're killing their shield hole them through shield
Yeah.
holes, right?
You know what's something that jumped out at me that I don't know what to think about it? They specifically highlighted how that industrial section has a bunch of escape pods. Like, is it
I
I don't
mean, I
know.
guess in
This seems
case of
weird to me.
emergency, right?
Yeah, well, that's what they said. They said in case of emergency or whatever, like people would be able to evacuate, and these escape pods are supposed to be like neutrally buoyant in the Crusader atmosphere. And I'm
Okay.
just going like, is this just like a flavor thing? Like you're putting that in because you guys are like covering your ass after the Star Runner ended up being a complete occupational health and safety hazard, as far as only having one way in and out
Yeah.
and no escape pods,
Well, I
or
just thought it's a kind of a cool idea because right now, if you're working in a factory or whatever, you have your escape routes and whatnot, right?
yeah,
But if you're on the ship, your escape route is either a shoot into raft or a boat, right? And
Yeah.
then if you're working on a rig, let's say oil rig, right? You still have like escape boats or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. 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 It
So the
does make sense.
like if your whole city is floating, I would guess if there's a factory full of like potentially explosive things, why
It's
not
true.
shoot people out, right, and then collect them?
It's true. It's just kind of weird to me that they highlighted it because it's not something they've ever done before.
But that's
For
why
example,
it's kind of flashy, right?
I guess
I
because
mean,
like
look at we're talking
all
about
the
it,
space
so
stations, like the space stations, for fuck's sakes, where are the escape pods and those things? You
I
know,
would
like
hope
if you
that
have
they
a
would
hull
have that.
breach,
I would hope
if
that
you have,
this space station will have them.
I mean, yeah, I hope so eventually too, but they don't right now. That's for
Dude, I
sure.
feel like space stations right now, the way they
You're gonna
made
tell
them.
me they're less dangerous than
No, definitely not. More dangerous, if
okay,
anything. But
yeah,
I feel like space stations now, like Port Olisar is my favorite. But I feel like the reason why we're having new ones is because they're Lego. So,
yeah,
I feel like
exactly,
they're gonna add a module with whatever the
yeah.
fuck they need, right? So now when they develop escape pods for Orison, they're just gonna add them to your
Yeah, like
space
something
stations,
that
right?
just gets procedurally worked in.
Yeah,
That's one of the benefits of that whole like procedural station tech is that they can
just leave
literally just
PO
add a
in.
module for whatever, for whatever like whatever they feel like they've left out and then just regenerate the space station with an appropriate amount of the whatever module they're missing in there.
Here's the thing: re remake Portolisar with new tech, and let some Beltalowda whatever faction drives it into the belt of Yell or whatever, and keep the fucking station because it's so iconic. Like I don't want to lose the ability of landing on PO. I just
I
love PO, man.
I do too. I
We grew
really
up
do.
on PO. You grew up on PO, you
Oh,
know?
100%.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
like
saying. You don't want to lose
that
that
was where
thing.
that was where you spawned in 3.0,
Yeah.
you know?
It's an
Like
asset that
and
you want to have in game.
but at the same time, I don't I don't think they're going to do it. Like they've mentioned
If they don't
how
do it, they're
resource
stupid.
intensive. They'll
Yeah,
have to remake it
remake
with the
it.
new tech.
Like someone Ninetales stole it. We don't know where it is, right? And then 5 patches later, holy shit, we found it. It's in the belt, you know?
It'd be awesome if it was in like a really high inclination orbit, like high above the solar system plane or something like that.
Yeah, something. Just keep it there. Like you can still go
Yeah.
to Jericho Station. It's useless,
But
right?
like
But you don't want to
let's look
lose the
at it
Jericho Station.
objectively here. Let's look at it objectively here though. Like as far as from a game perspective, yes.
That's
It's
all I care
well,
for.
no,
What?
even
No. What?
then
Come on, man. What do you
you
mean?
need you need to be able to get between the different struts without having to EVA over.
No, you don't.
That's
You can say
no,
that
that's
this is like
stupid.
super old system, whatever. Only the
It should be
fucking
connected. Look at how much of a body goes between all those different
shut up.
spurs or whatever. Like you should be able to walk through it.
They need
Just
to
make a
keep
big
that
walk through
place.
it.
I don't care how they do it. They just need to save it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it has to stay in the game. But I do understand like they should reconstruct the whole thing. I wouldn't think that's like crazy, especially if it's like for content.
You know
It would
what?
take
Maybe
some
if they
time
made
probably,
it
but
cuz really when you think about it, like as far as the station's concerned, like it's pretty limited, but it would be kind of interesting if you saw it like appearing on like frontier edges or just as like really old stations
yeah,
in the lore or whatever, like just like very
car wash.
early,
It's gonna be a car wash and refueling station. There you go.
yeah, or just like something you've like the equivalent of like the those like really rundown gas stations that you see
Yeah,
in TV shows
that
in the
exactly. That's
US or
how I think
whatever
about it.
that are like way off the beaten track and there's like one gas pump from the 50s and
Yeah,
somebody who looks like he's like 87 years old who's you know
that's what I want. Like someone took it. It's far away. Maybe someone bought it off.
I
Whatever the
I
fuck.
really like the idea of somebody taking it.
Yeah,
Just like a bunch of SRVs show up and just lock tractor beams onto it and just steal Port Olisar.
would it be crazy?
Yeah, I'd like that way better than because everybody thinks it's gonna get blown up. I don't think it is.
Please
But
don't blow it up.
well, frankly, it just wouldn't make sense. But yeah, like
We'll
I
see.
think it would be much cooler as if if a group stole it. But yeah, anyways,
Okay, so that's it for the IC. Then we had
I
calling
see.
all
Yeah,
devs, which holy shit, what did I watch there, man? The whole calling all
um,
devs was about theaters of war,
yeah.
and yeah, I guess you don't like Tyra anymore,
No,
or less and less.
I will admit that I kind of have a bias against Richard Tyre now after he went on and defended the Rock DS because it just was like so out of touch. It just made me go like, wait, you're a lead gameplay designer and you think that the Rock DS is going to be fun because it lets a driver be a driver full time and a miner be a miner full time? What the fuck game are you playing? Like all that means is that 50% of your crew is going to be bored 50% of the time.
Yeah,
Maybe even, well, probably more
more.
like 70-30, but
Mm.
like it's
No,
just,
it's a one-player
anyways,
vehicle. That's what
it
it
just
is.
it just made me go like, what game are you playing and do you even know what fun is? And then to hear him on calling all devs this time talking about like what their plans are for the game design, I just found myself skeptical about everything he said because I don't trust that he knows what fun is
Okay,
anymore.
so let's address the big things first. So
Okay.
uh, the problem that I had with this episode is like, first of all, we were supposed to have Theaters of War already, and it was teased and all that, and now they confirmed that that's not coming out ever, basically. Right?
I don't know about
He
that.
literally laughed about it and said, "Well, we could push it now, but we want to polish it,
Yeah, but it's not ready. Yeah.
and it's nowhere near that." And they're like, "Yeah, it makes more sense." And I'm like, "Can you just make up your mind about what makes sense?"
Well, okay. In their defense, and I will come to the defense of Sean Tracy because I do quite like him for the most part. Even though I felt like we were definitely getting some marketing speak in this calling all devs. But when he talked about how they tried, like they put it to Evocati and they just could not get the performance, that's fine.
Yeah, but they're
Like,
not saying it. They're saying that the performance is okay, just not the
what?
level that they want. That's what they said. They said it's
No, no,
playable,
they
but
absolutely did not.
if
They
you're not
absolutely did
playing on a
not.
stellar PC, well, guess what, buddy? Nothing in Star Citizen
It
is
was
working.
more than that. They said that even on the people, even on the Evocattis who had top end PCs, they weren't able to get like higher than 20 frames a second. And they just said that doesn't feel good. Like he just
Sure.
said flat out, like that
But then
doesn't feel
nothing
good. And
feels
that's
good in
why
Star
we had
Citizen.
to pull it.
Nothing feels good in Star Citizen. Anyways, no. And then I agree with that. But they
Sorry. I got to go back to what you said there, and I don't think that that's correct. And this is something that they talked about as, or Sean Tracy said as well. Um, if you're chugging along at 20 to 30 FPS and you're doing mining or cargo hauling, you can still have an experience that feels okay. When you're
okay.
doing high octane FPS and mixed arms, combined arms at at those sorts of FPSs, no, it just wouldn't feel good. So
So how
I
did they not
respect it.
know that this will happen? Like, and you know what? We'll touch on this more, but why do you have the whole planet? Like, maybe that's one of the reasons why your FPS
Possible.
thing is, like, if you have the whole
Yep.
fucking planet, and
Yep.
so this was, I don't care
Mm.
about Theaters of War anymore. Like, I will not play that mode because
Oh,
from my experience of, and I was excited about it, but from unless they change this, from my experience for playing other games, that Theaters of War is literally copy paste Battlefield, right? Like, there's no doubt about it. Um,
okay, but here's the thing, and this is something that they talked about as well, specifically Sean Tracy talking about how they want to get data out of theaters of war that they can literally copy from theaters of war directly to the PU. And you're not going to do that unless you actually have a situation where you're playing in a similar environment to the PU. So I kind of understand using the whole planet from like a system resources and stress testing perspective. because that's
Why
where
don't
you're
you
gonna
have it
get.
in PU then? I don't get it. I don't understand. As an objective, as a what are we talking about? Like we
Here's the thing: if all they were going for is the balance, if that's all they were trying to do, yeah, 100%. Put it on a constrained map, a la Battlefront and all those other mixed arms games. Just put it on a fixed map and do it that way. But they're clearly trying to do more with this. They're trying to
who's
get
gonna
metrics
play
that
it,
they can.
Maso? Who's gonna?
Sorry?
So here's the problem. You have team versus team. So I don't know how many, but 20 versus 20 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. 21st 20,
So
something like that.
they want to spawn people in the vehicles as a starting idea, which I don't know if I'm okay with it or not. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
That's
It doesn't
how it
matter.
was
Wait,
at.
wait, wait. It doesn't
Okay.
matter. It doesn't matter. So now the problem that I have, you have ground, you have only 40 people, you have troops on the ground,
Mhm,
ships, space station, 2 bases, ground vehicles, and then you have no boundaries. So someone
mhm.
can sit into a
Yeah,
Buccaneer and fly to the other side of the planet,
yeah.
effectively screwing up the whole team just because they
Yes, and
can. And
that
who the
that I
fuck is
agree
going
with
to
you.
play that? Like, that's an
Well,
unplayable absolute bullshit that someone can only create if they don't know what the game should be.
yes. In that part, I agree with you.
That's
Having
it. It's
having
broken.
no boundaries on this is going to just fuck up the game
You just
because
there's just no, yeah.
you're gonna have trolls who are just like basically jump in, grab all the fighter crafts, and just sort of like throttle up and fly in a direction. Bye, guys. So I really, really hope that they go back on the no boundaries thing. Plus, like the whole point of Theaters of War with the first scenario that they were planning was to have it so that there was like distinctive phases where like phase one was basically ground assault on the base, phase two was like in the base and trying to blow up the dish or whatever, and then phase three was taking it like from the ground up to space. If you don't have your boundaries in place, how are you going to separate those phases? Like, what's to stop somebody from just going up to the space station just for the lulls? You know
Because
what
the
I mean?
space station is locked until something triggers it. You can.
Well, okay, that's fine, but like, like that people are going to go up there and be like, "Can I just go up here?"
Of course.
And they're potentially going to fuck the entire match because like three people in a Valkyrie were like, "Let's go to the space station in phase one."
Man, you know what? They should just add mining vehicles so that people can just go and mine. An Argo, mall.
Yeah, yeah. So yes, that
I,
I don't think that's going to last,
you know what
frankly.
scares me? After seeing Tyler talking about DS as a fun game, and them
Hmm.
being so proud about having the whole planet in a battleground, I'm
Hmm.
just like, fuck, man. Like, this is what is he proud about? Like, you already have these plans, you motherfucker. You already have them. We know. Like, I just don't get it. Like, I'm not buying
This
this.
is the
This is
thing. This is the
bullshit.
thing. Like Sean Tracy has the game design chops to know that that is not that's going to break the game. That's why I don't think it's going to be. I don't think that that's going to be
I don't know, man.
a thing.
If you think so, not okay. But
Well, ultimately, we
he
got to
never
have to wait
he
and see.
never
But
said anything against it. They're both proud about
I
like
know.
having the whole planet.
Of course,
So
but we already established that, like, this week is basically marketing having a field day with this. And frankly, I'm okay with them being proud of something they're working on, right? Like, if
no,
they think it's fun,
wait,
then
wait, wait.
that's
Well,
great.
that's the
But
problem. How can they think that's fun?
well, I don't know. They're the ones who played it more than
How can
we
they
have.
think that DS? Well, they play DS as well. They think it's fun.
Well,
No, what? Don't
I don't know
well
about
me.
Tracy.
It's the same thing, bro. It's the same thing. Are they playing it? Did they actually use DS?
Well, here's the other thing, and the other reason behind this is that like they played all this, like multiple people. In fact, I've talked to people who played it at CitizenCon, in the actual demo. Everybody said it was fun. Needed some polish, needed some tweaking, but
So
overall was
did you
fun.
not have boundaries there?
I don't know.
Well,
That's
that's
one
I
thing we
don't
don't know.
think I don't think you just fly to the other side of the planet. I
They
think
did say it was
that's
actually located on a planet, but I can't remember if
that's
they said
fine.
there was boundaries or not.
But I
Yeah.
think you had boundaries.
Absolutely. I will agree with you there. Like, they can have it on a planet if they're trying to test, the engine and how things kind of behave when things are happening on a planet. I'm fine with that.
I
I think
don't
that's a
care.
good
I'm not
idea.
fine with that. I don't give a shit anymore because it, listen, it's just like if you this is where it's going the same way as fucking Arena Commander and what's the other name? I don't even know. That's how good it
Star
is.
Marine.
So if you're just like you need to make this playable, man. We had the ideas of they should make it free so that people can come in, and get into Star Citizen through this and all that. This is so bad. Like I don't want to play it. Like I've heard no boundaries. I'm like I'm not gonna even try it. I don't care about
Well,
this.
okay, man, but like we've already said that this is like definitely an iterative process, and they flat out said in that episode that like the reason that they haven't even released it to even like a wider public test
It's
universe is because it
performance.
doesn't feel good.
But
You know,
performance wise, they're not they're very proud about the whole planet thing. I'm sorry, man, but for me that's
it.
it's ridiculous.
I disagree. Like
I
especially when you're
know.
dealing with
Yeah.
an integrated game development process like this, where like where you're ultimately building everything in the same direction towards like a release, right? Then it makes sense to, even when you're doing a game mode like this, design things in such a way that it will benefit the
I dis
entire
I
project
disagree.
instead of just putting up. Well, what's the point then? Like
Because
if literally
this is also a game mode for the game. So all these three games that we have here, when polished, they will be part of Star Citizen experience, right? So why are you
I
making that
just
face? They
because
explained
like
it.
Star Marine is like that. I'm sorry, but Star Marine is like, yeah, no.
Well, yeah, but that's their idea, and you can polish it so that you have a battleground. I think the game needs battlegrounds. I love the fact that World of Warcraft or Elder Scrolls Online or any other MMO has instanced battlegrounds.
But you're so opposed to the developers spending your money on Squadron 42, and yet you'd be okay with them spending money on a game mode that literally
Absolutely,
has nothing to do with the main
it has
project.
everything to do with the main project. I don't know
It
how.
doesn't, though. You've already said that you would rather them not actually make it in a way that can realistically generate data and be used for the public
You
universe.
don't understand
Besides,
what I'm saying. So you're for me, this needs to be enjoyable, all three modes, and more if
yes,
they're adding more.
yeah,
And
100%.
I look at this as
But it
part
needs
of
to be
the
more
end
than
game.
that.
I don't care about that, Maso. I'm already paying them to make a game, and I am doing QA for them. I'm not being paid to play boring fucking shit modes.
So don't play that. That's the
Well,
thing,
that's what
right?
I'm
Like,
saying. I'm not gonna play it. I think it's stupid. Like there needs to be a fine line where we are still paying for the game, dude. Like I don't care if everything I do. I no.
well, here's the thing. I agree with you in principle, insofar as like if they create this game mode, and even if it's generating useful data, if it's not fun to play, I 100% agree. Like
It's
that's
dead. It's buried if it's not fun to play. Just
yes,
like the other two.
absolutely.
So why are you even
Which is
bothering
why,
then?
well, because basically what they're saying is like we want to get it to a point where it's fun and generating useful data for the project. And at
Sure.
which point, good, do that. That's
Yeah.
cool.
But opening
Just
it like whole
make
planet
sure
for
it's
it,
fun.
it's
Well,
not gonna
again, like
work.
we don't know about that yet.
I know
We
about
don't
that.
know about that
I'm
yet
sorry, but
because
I know about that.
even if they did release it and that was the case, it definitely wouldn't stay that, because for a fucking fact that as soon as trolls start hopping in and just sailing off into the sunset with everybody's transports and fighter craft, that they're gonna fucking patch that shit. For a fact they're going to do that. They're not gonna leave that there.
You are so naive, my friend.
What?
They will patch it. It's gonna be too late, and people will not be interested in playing it anymore. Like your release of something like this after you did, after you have like two big boo boo projects that are not working, and everyone was like, "This is gonna be just a third one," and then if you release it and it's stupid, people will just be like, "Oh fuck, another Arena Commander," and then you're gonna patch it. Sure, who's gonna come back to it though? I'm not. That's the reality of it. And I'm sorry, but I just like you, I don't get this. I don't get this. We can see how some people are tripping major ballsack fun gameplay because they obviously don't play games. But you and me do. I'm sorry, but I have like 30 years of experience in playing games on multiple levels, including
I have
competitive
gone back
levels.
to so many games that have said, "Oh, we patched that thing that annoyed you in this game." Cool.
Did you
Fine, I'll go
test
back and play it.
these games?
What do you mean?
Did you
Like,
pay
was
to
I part of the
test these
Of
games?
course not, because no game has ever done that.
Exactly what I'm saying.
But this is what I'm saying, like, you can't just say that if they release it and it's not exactly perfect when it comes out, nobody's ever gonna play it again. Like, come on.
Well, I mean,
If
people
it's
are still
broken
playing
and it's
Star Marine.
Yeah, but Star Marine was the redheaded stepchild that was basically kicked out and never touched again.
Okay, Arena
That's why
Commander.
people aren't playing it. Arena Commander, actually, Noodle was making posts on Twitter actually about going back to Arena Commander because in the patch notes they've announced some changes and fixes to it. So
Did you try playing anything like Battle Royale in Arena Commander or anything like that?
plus, like, again, like, here's the other thing. Like, I played Arena Commander a ton, and Arena
Sure.
Commander, even in the early days, like, went through phases. You know what I mean? Like, things would change, people would come back, tactics would change, metas would change, ships would change, people would go and come, and that would, that was the way it was. Right now, it's been dead because, again, there hasn't been a fucking update to
Maso,
Arena Commander in like a year.
we're talking about different things again. I am saying that they
No, you're
don't.
calling me a naive and saying that, like, because I think that they can actually do things iteratively here and actually still have a player base, you know, like, and then you're equating it to Star Marine and Arena Commander. Like, come on, you know, like, the reason that Arena Commander and Star Marine aren't played is because it's not being worked on. If they have committed to working on this project and actually fixing the things that aren't fun, then I'm not willing to write that off, and I don't think that makes me naive.
What if you had Star Marine and you could just run off the map for 10 hours? Would that be okay? You make one kill. Wait, listen.
Okay,
I have a
no,
point.
I'm not
Answer my
gonna
question.
listen.
Okay,
You've
then
already
we're
told
done.
me your point. You've already told me your fucking point. Your
My
fucking
point is,
was
how
that,
do
like,
they not understand that this is bad and they're
yeah,
so proud about it?
and I'm agreeing with you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're bad at figuring out what they're just not good at understanding how the games work.
We'll have to wait to see how it actually plays
No,
out.
we
because
don't have to wait to see because this is obvious. I don't have to wait and see. If they don't put
Of
boundaries
course
to
you
it,
don't.
okay, dude.
Well, I'm sorry, man, but, like, this is the
Don't
reality
be
of it.
sorry.
Like,
I just think you are not understanding how big of a bullshit this is, and you think that I am blowing it out of proportion, whatever the fuck, and we have to
well,
disagree.
I think we don't know. Like, I agree with you in that, like, it's a fucking stupid idea to have no boundaries on this. And if they hold to that, I agree. 100% the game will die if they just keep it like that.
In many our conversations, we agree that we ultimately don't know. With this one, I am not taking it. I know.
If I would agree with you if they had committed to just basically saying, yeah, when we release it, that's it. No boundaries.
Wait, I
Yeah,
don't
no,
understand.
we're
What were you
definitely
saying?
staying with that.
Like they were both so proud about telling us that you can literally fly your ship to the other side of the planet. So how much more do you need than that? That was literally that was the top, like that was the
No, it wasn't their top thing that they're proud about. Come on, don't give me that shit.
It literally was. The rest of the things was like how bad things are and why they have to work on it, which is fair and okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
So
Like,
the
when people get
positive
in
thing
and they
is
start
you can
playing
fly
it,
to the other side of the planet.
the positive thing was that this is supposed to the data they generate from this is supposed to directly translate from here to the PU because it's the same
Okay.
system. It's
That
happening on a planet. It's
is
using
just
all the same shit.
wait. That has nothing to do with the game. That's just them.
That is literally why they're making this game.
That's bullshit. I'm sorry.
Why is
then,
it bullshit?
Then it's not a game. Then it's not a game. And I can't finish because you're gonna stop me every time. But the reason they're telling you how that will affect the future of Star Citizen as well is just them. I don't know how to explain this in English, but like the reason why they're investing resources in it, because on the bigger picture, they have to have a reason to make this now, because if it's not affecting the gameplay of Star Citizen and development, then why is this a priority in the first place? Where they're like, also another live where I lost my shit was like, I've been working with these guys since the announcement. Why did you never say that? You piece of shit.
I knew you were gonna blow up on that one.
Piece of shit. What's funny about it? Tell me, you're using my money. I don't mind you hiring third-party studio. Why did you say that until someone published it, and then you're like, oh yeah, we've been working on this for. Why did you not tell us? Eat shit. That's bullshit. I don't want that. I don't trust you. This is where I lose my trust with Star Citizen.
I think.
And what's funny about it? He's like, you idiots, we've been doing this. That's literally how.
Well, it's because they're trying to prove a point in that, like, but this time it's not Ilphonic, because they knew for a fact that when they said that they were going to third party this, everybody was going to be like Ilphonic, which is exactly what I did when I heard that they were working with Firesprite, because the Ilphonic thing was a fucking disaster.
So listen, that's the transparency that you have to have. You need to have. And they know they made a mistake by not publishing this. And then they had to cover for their mistake. And don't underestimate the intelligence of people who are funding your project. Because I know you made a mistake by not publishing it, and I know it slipped from the other studio. And then come out, don't be a bitch, come out and say, we fucked up. We are sorry. The reason we did not want to publicly say it is because Ilphonic. Okay, sorry. It is what it is. We are continuing to work with these guys. Don't be like, you morons. We've been working with them since the beginning. Now it's okay. Well, fuck you, dude. It's not okay. And you know what's not okay either? That you think that I'm so stupid that you laughing about it will make me feel like you know what you're doing. No. Be fucking honest about these things, because you know what? You're playing with my money. And I don't mind you making mistakes. That's fine. But if you start lying me on like at every fucking step, then
I'm not going to fight too hard on that one, though. I do think that this was a whatever. Anyways, the end of the day is, from a game development perspective, studios third-party contract all the time, but I agree in that, like, the fact that we found out about it,
it's okay. I don't mind that.
18 months later from the studio that you've been contracting,
we wouldn't know about it still if they did not say it.
Even with the history with Ilphonic or whatever, you're not going to get any argument out of me.
It's like the project that is based on trust and funded on trust of your backers. Where since I came in, so many times I'm like, wait, why are these why are they lying to us? Like, why are they not telling us the truth? I just don't get it. How can that work? And why is it working? And mind it, I want it to work, but they need to stop doing this. And I think the only way they stop doing this is if they stop getting funding, which I don't want, but you know what I mean? Obviously they will not learn not to, and people are okay with that. I'm not okay with that. I think trust is very important here. I just want to tell me the truth.
Like, and especially from what I've seen from when I started following the project and started backing, like, the bigger they get, the less they're going to behave like the
they're becoming EA. That's what I said before, and you were like, no.
Well, but no, they are, because I think that is a I think that is a very extreme over exaggeration.
Yes,
but like, they are corporatizing.
They are,
because they're getting
Activision
big
on a smaller scale. That's what they are.
Oh, come on.
What do you mean?
Like, I'm sorry, like, you can't equate them to the most egregious and hated publishers in the gaming industry.
I can't.
Okay, well, you can, but like, you're being dramatic. I would say that they're corporatizing and they're starting to behave more like traditional, more like traditional game publishers and stuff like that. But like, to say that they are automatically on the worst end of that spectrum,
I don't think there's nothing worse about Activision or EA, we don't like them.
Oh, there are.
But
Yeah.
buddy, but they're surviving and they're making shitloads of money,
Oh
and their
yeah.
games are
Yeah, they're
being
making
played more
shitloads of
than
money.
any other games.
Yeah.
So they're doing good. We can hate them, but that's the way to do it. But that's why
For
you're
now.
funding this project, because you don't want that, and they are turning
Mm,
into that. So I'm sorry, but
no,
that's my point.
they're not turning into that. They're turning into a more traditional game company, sure, because they're corporatizing, they're growing. They're not turning into the worst of the gaming industry. And I say the worst because I've known people who worked
I
for
know.
both of those companies. And and I've literally been to the studios, for fuck's sakes.
So
Like,
these studios became that not overnight. Blizzard
oh, of
was
course
one
not.
of the best
Sure.
studios in the world to work for. They're proud about their projects, but guess
Mhm.
what? Blizzard is now Activision. It's not the
Sure.
good old Blizzard North.
BioWare, same story. EA
So
took them
that's what I'm
over.
saying. They're doing the same thing right now.
What I'm saying
It's
is
just
that they have
not there
they have a
yet.
yes, exactly. They have a lot longer to go, but I'll agree. They're heading in the corporate direction. They're giving us more of the corporate lines and shit like that. And open development, even though it still is a lot more open than any sort of AAA game would be, is definitely on a decline. Um, because
It's open
now they
because of
have
the
legal
tracker, but
departments.
stuff that they are not telling you is not on a tracker. So
Yep.
it's not
Yep.
transparent.
No, I agree. It's not transparent, but it's
Well,
still more open than other AAA studios. But
yeah, to me,
but
you're either open or you're not. I'm sorry, but that's just me. Okay, I knew this will fuck me up,
it's
but it has
it's
to be
just
said.
it's the I just think like it's the reality when anything moves from an indie studio, like a close knit indie studio, and then balloons into
Sure.
a
Just be
company that's employing like 1,000+ people. You know what I mean? Like
just
the
be open about it, man.
legal departments get involved, and specifically the marketing departments get involved, the PR departments
Maso,
get involved,
I
and
am
those
not.
were
They need to work differently than when they started. I'm not. I'm
yeah.
never talking about like against this, but they can also say, "Hey guys, we are working with another studio." They don't have to say which studio. They don't have to say which
Yep.
project. They can just say, "We decided that there's a segment of our game that we are paying the other studio to work for us. In the future, you will see what this is." And then 18 months later, when this studio publishes this, we're like, "Oh," and they're like, "Well, we told you, we're working with our studio, and that's what it is." It's that simple.
Yep.
It's that simple. I'm not asking them to, tell me when is which employee going to, pee in the office. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, just
Yep.
don't hide things. That's all. Fuck, like, because you're hiding with my money.
Yep. No, I agree with you there. I just don't. Yeah, it's
Now
it
let
is
me
what it is.
let me just
Unfortunately,
say this because I think it's important, and I would like people who listen to us to also get my point, even if you disagree with that. But if you let me explain it, I think you might agree about the boundaries. We have Arena Commander, and we have uh, I forgot the name again. I just
Star Marine.
Star Marine. Fuck. So imagine, and so they have these closed encounter scenarios already, where Arena Commander is not just like flying around in the closed space. It also has Pirate Swarm. It has the one dual swarm, whatever the fuck the other one is. You have Battle Royale mode. You have like right. You have like several things. You have the racing map, right? In Star Marine, you have several maps, out of which some are really fucking good. All of these places have boundaries. They are on the planet, but they have boundaries, because guess what? If we are playing Battle Royale and I just fly away, or like in any of these cases, I shoot you once in Star Marine and I just start running to another side of the planet, it's unplayable. And every game that has this is this is like, you can't breathe without like, if there's no oxygen in the air, you're gonna die. It's like 1 + 1 = 2. And for Richard Tyrer and Sean to agree how good it is that they don't have boundaries and the whole planet is playable in this mode, I am just mind blown. How the fuck are these two people not understanding that that's not supposed to be like that. That's my point. These are our
Yeah.
lead designers for what we are playing in the future of our gameplay experience.
I gotta say, like, I watched Calling All Devs back to back twice this morning, and I did not hear them saying basically what you're saying right now. Like, yes, they said that the entire planet was there, but I did not hear them saying that they were so proud that you could literally go anywhere on the planet. Because and
Well,
honestly,
in
if
his
it comes
words,
out,
he
if it
says you
comes
can sit
out,
in a plane and you can sit in a ship and fly to the other side of the planet if you want.
well, they also said it was a 30-minute match, so it would
Oh.
just end. But I agree, you know, like, if they put it out with that, like, frankly, I wouldn't. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Richard Tyre thinks that a good idea after
Thank
fucking what
you.
he
That's
thinks
what I'm
about the Rock
saying.
DS.
That's what I'm saying.
But I just don't see it as being realistically something that's going to make it through the wider testing. Is all I was really trying to get
Well,
across.
that's what I said.
Because
Right now,
everybody
I'm not
fucking
interested.
knows that 40 players. Like, we have 40 players in a solar system right now, but even if you put 40 players in a planet, you'd never fucking find each other.
Well, and this is scary to me. That's what I said. If they don't add boundaries, I'm not interested in this gameplay mode.
I'm pretty sure the version that they had at CitizenCon had kill boxes. Basically, you'd get a notification that said you're in dereliction of duty or whatever, and then they would just kill you. But I can't remember for sure.
It makes
And
sense.
yeah,
It
of course
just
it
makes
makes sense,
sense.
and that's why I'm not willing to latch onto that, because that is so, like, obvious that like if that gets through.
Sure.
If
You know
that
what
gets
else is
through
obvious?
public testing,
You know what else is
then
obvious? That DS is not fun for bot players. It's fucking obvious. I don't know how can anyone think in their right mind that that's fun. And that's the person who is responsible for fun you're having in the game. So you know what? Kick him out. I'm sorry, but why is this person there? Or find another job for him. Okay, fair enough. Like, I don't want someone to lose their jobs. But
you're not going to get any argument from me there, because frankly, I've already said it's in the fucking notes.
But
here
you know
that
what the problem is? That Sean Tracy,
Richard Tyre,
that Sean Tracy did not disagree with this.
Yeah, I don't.
And you know what else is a problem? That I feel like more and more I know about this game, the more I feel like it's a boomer game. And these boomers, they don't understand. Like, we are boomers, but we play games. I think these boomers stopped playing games 10 years ago when they started developing this.
In the case of Sean Tracy, that's not true. Like, you can look up his resume.
He did not disagree on this. He did not say anything about this.
Yeah, I know, but again, like, I like, you're really latched onto this, and I just don't think it's realistic.
After DS.
If it comes out, and that's the way it is, and there's no boundaries, and it got through wider testing with that coming through, fine, sure, I'll be like, you know what? Okay, you're right, Chegg.
Of course it's gonna come out, because you know why? Okay, let's go a step further. Who's testing? Avocati, right? Avocados. Evocati, sorry. And
it's not stopping there.
Wait,
they've already said it's going to go to PTU.
But listen, people who are testing on PTU are usually focused into doing that's why we had problems with Cutlet and others interacting from the wrong side with the fucking Xenothreat, because people are not testing these things. You know why? Because people who pay a lot of money are testing, and Cutlet is not testing on PTU. He's not first wave PTU.
Wow.
I'm sorry, but like, how is this a fucking... So I can see, because the fucking system is flawed, that in PU we're getting this version of it. And then we have to be like, oh, this sucks. And then maybe they're going to change it. But maybe they're going to say, yeah, but you know what? That's not a priority.
I think in a lot of... first of all, I think you're like... While I agree that lot of Evocati are who you said, they're whales who really have no business kind of like testing a game mode like this.
It's not only that. I think they're focused. Like, the CIG tells them... They kind of, which is good, right? CRG tells them this is the focus of this build. Please test that. You can see it on even we get to PTU, and these people are like, okay, let's focus where they ask us to focus, because I mean, we're helping them test the game, right? which is why I think the product comes to PU, which again is a testing ground, right? It's not the final product. It comes in a wrong way, which happened many times since I started following the project. But how are you not learning from these mistakes? You know what I mean?
I also think it's, again, like, when changes happen in an organized, oh my
Whoop,
god.
you just disappeared.
Yeah, my slobs just like hard crashed. Whew.
I can still hear you. If you want to continue talking about it while you're setting it
Yeah,
up, that's cool.
well, it's because we're on Discord,
Yeah.
but yeah. Um,
I don't know what was your thought. Are you still there?
yeah, I don't know what the fuck happened. Um, I totally lost my train of thought now, though. That was derailing. At any rate,
I told the guys in the chat that
change.
you're coming back. But yeah, I don't know. Because I mean, I said that I don't know how they are not learning on their mistakes by, because these things happened already and they have like these
Well,
things
this is. I mean, okay. When we're sitting here armchair deving, it's easy to think like, oh, they're not changing, they're not doing things, but you don't actually see the stuff that's in behind, and stuff
Of
like
course.
this, especially with a company like this, a company this big, like, shit is monolithic and takes fucking
Yeah.
time to change
Okay,
sometimes.
I
But
agree with this, right? Except for I'm gonna go back to Rock DS. Like, it doesn't take a nuclear scientist to understand that if someone is sitting for 20 minutes
yes,
in a seat
yeah.
and losing health because the
You keep
elements.
throwing you keep throwing Richard Tyre at me, and like, I can't
I'm
argue this
sorry, but
because I agree.
it's listen, Mr. Richard Tyre is one of like 15 people
The
in this team.
gameplay designers, I
And
know, fuck.
yeah, and he is responsible for Theaters of War, which is, I think, is a big mistake because Theaters of War will be shit if he's on top. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't like calling names, but get this guy some other job. I'm sure he came to that position for a good reason. I'm sure he has a skill set to work for CAG, but maybe this is just not suiting it properly because I don't think he understands what's happening, and that's kind of sad. And it's scary. It's scary. It's scary.
I agree. I agree that I literally cannot disagree with that, because because I am shocked at how bad he appears to be
Figuring
at
out what's
game
fun.
design,
Yeah.
at figuring out what's fun when he's like a chief of game design. Like, that to me is baffling. And
Yeah.
I can't argue with that. Like, I was bummed out when I saw that he was on this calling all devs. I was like, oh no,
But who
you
else?
have your hand in Theaters of War. Well, I guess that's it then. you know,
And
I
then
can't
you're
argue
saying
about
the
that.
problem is you're saying that
No, I'm
Sean,
defending Sean Tracy's
you are, but I
positions.
don't see why are you defending him because there's only few people in this team, and if Sean Tracy is part of this team, and so is Richard Tyler, is he not feeling like telling Richard that he's wrong, or do they share this opinion? Because there's not that many people in Tears of War. So I'm sorry, but I cannot defend Sean Tracy. I think
I
he's
don't know.
okay.
Here's the
Your
thing, though.
camera is
Sean
back, by the way.
Tracy, yeah, Sean Tracy was the this Theaters of War is Sean Tracy's baby before anybody else's, at least so far as we understood from his CitizenCon presentation.
Okay.
So Richard Tyre can talk about all he wants, but ultimately I'm going to take Sean Tracy at his word before I take anything Richard Tyre says. And I could be proven wrong here. I will fully admit.
No, I agree with you
But
100%, except for he never said anything against what Richard Tyler said.
of course not, because they're on a video,
Oh,
it's
fuck
polished
that.
and blah blah
Come
blah
on,
blah
man.
blah.
Okay,
No,
sure.
we've already said that basically marketing has basically had a field day with this week's content. And I don't think it, like, from the marketing speak that I was hearing from both of them at the beginning of the video, like, it's not a raw video, Chegg. It's not raw.
Nothing
They're just
is raw in this
You
project,
know,
man,
like
which is sad.
they're talking up their thing as if they're
Yes,
talking
but
to a
they're
board of
selling it to
directors.
you as if it was raw. That's the problem. So that's another lie. There's so many lies. All right, let's be done with this. So Fleequit was announced, which at first I was like, it's gonna be the same as last year. Meh. It's cool. It's good to have, but I don't really care. Except for I'm gonna buy Terrapin.
Thankfully, we're wrong.
Seems like we're wrong. I mean, let's see. But seems like there's a lot. Well, a lot. Like there's more happening. Again, I'm not excited about it that much. We're gonna talk about what's happening. But you know what? I
I
am
am.
excited. I'm fucking excited about content creators getting some beef to eat this time. You know what I mean? To get excited about things about being able to
Wait.
walk around Javelin and then talk
Ah,
about
yeah.
it, you
Okay.
know,
Well, that's okay. Yes.
or
So
seeing a Bengal, you know,
yeah.
or
So if you
seeing
haven't heard, they've
yeah.
announced basically that you're going to be able to tour the interior of a Javelin destroyer, um, which is
In essence,
pretty
that's really cool.
cool.
That's
Yeah,
fucking amazing. I just don't care about these ships that much. That's why I'm not like me. I'd be more
I want to
excited
see what the
if
interior is.
it's
I think it'd be awesome. But
well, no, of course, but it's like I'm gonna go there, see it, and that's it. You know, like I'm
well,
done.
yes, but like Invictus has always been a theme park kind of thing, right?
Well,
So now it's a theme
again,
park, but there's some stuff that I'm interested in,
no,
just
it's
like last year.
great. I think this is to make it more clear. I think this is great. I'm just not super excited about it because of myself. Not like you know what I mean. I'm not bashing on this at all. I think it's amazing. So we'll be able to walk around Javelin. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be like 2 rooms or something, or 3. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna be able to like walk around the whole ship. I don't think so.
Yeah, no,
Because
I agree.
Squadron
It's
42.
not
If
going to
nothing
be.
else, Squadron 42.
I avoid generally looking at leaks, but there was a leaked audio files apparently that made the Javelin tour sound like more of like a guided civilian tour kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm expecting, but
But
I
then
still think it'll be cool.
if you no, regardless, even if it's like 2 rooms, it's cool.
Yeah. And then the Bengal was something I didn't think was real. I was like, there's no way they're gonna put a fucking Bengal.
Okay,
in.
so let's start that from the beginning. A few days ago, we got a tweet from CRG where it was a person with a transparent backpack, unlike CRG, transparent backpack that has a Bengal cat
So
in it.
in essence, it was a Bengal carrier.
Yeah. And I wish it was a tiger in it. Because Bengal tiger is more of a trigger, you know. So a lot of people were like, carrier, you know, like, and then caterpillar on a carrier or whatever, you know. There was a lot of speculation, and then it all clicked in, obviously. And so John Crew confirmed on forums, I think it was him, that we will definitely be able to walk around the Javelin, which is cool. And then it was found. We're not gonna spoil it much, but there's an audio file from this PTU that is currently running, where a Bengal carrier is mentioned in a way where you can go somewhere and see it as it flies by. So we don't know how and whatever, but that's finally a big ship. So I'd like if I could like fly around it. That'd be fucking cool.
I think you're going to be able to. Frank, and the reason I think this is because I know that they've been working on this asset for Squadron 42 because it appears in the Squadron 42 like trailers and shit like that. So like, it wouldn't surprise me if the exterior is done to a level where they are comfortable letting people fly around it.
Sure.
Interior wise, obviously not. Also because like, oh
you know
my
what?
god,
I don't need interior. Like the you know what? You can't buy this ship. You will need a solid corp once you find it somewhere to fit it and make it work. This is something that we might be using in Star Citizen like many years from now, and maybe even years from when the game is released, because someone needs to find it and whatnot. It's more of like an Easter egg probably, or what, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you'll see it in Squadron 42. Guaranteed you'll see
Well,
the
I'm not
interior
going to
or
see it
parts of the
probably, but
interior.
you will. But
But
what I'm
like
saying is,
even
like, I
now,
don't really need the interior of this ship. I want to
well,
see it from the outside.
I don't need it, but like it would be pretty sick if you got to like see the flight deck.
A flight deck is inside. How are we going to see it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. We're talking about like
Like
not being
fly
bummed
through?
about about being able to go inside, and like while I agree, I'm still cool with it just being out there so that I can fly
I just
around
want
it.
scale, man.
It would be sick to be able to actually go inside and like land in the flight deck. That would be
I
sweet.
still haven't had that moment of flying next in my small ship, like a hawk or something, flying to another ship and being like, "Oh, that's massive." And
I
this is what
still
I'm
think you're
looking
gonna
for,
I still think you're gonna be disappointed
probably.
because like even the slowest ship can hit almost 1,000 meters per second. If the Bengal is just over 1,000 meters, that means it's going to be a second, and you're by it.
Unless I can match its speed.
Well, of course you can. You'll be able to. But what I'm saying is like if you're flying past it at those sorts of speeds, it's not going to seem that big.
No, but if you can get close to it and fly alongside, you can. Like javelin is big. It's res- respectably
Mhm.
big. You're like, okay, that's a big ship.
You really get this scale of the Bengal when you're like, or sorry, when of the javelin when you're like EVAing past it, because it takes a long time, and you realize,
Sure.
holy shit.
I
But when
don't
you,
know. This is my problem, personal problem, where I'm just like, it's not as big as ships that we have, where I literally walked around the ship. You know what I mean, in real life. And I'm
yeah,
hoping
well,
that Bengal will be the first one where I'm like, okay,
didn't we confirm that the javelin was like approximately the same length as like some cruise ships at 300 meters?
yes.
It doesn't seem as big because it's not as
It's
tall.
not only that; it's a cruise ship in current day and age, not in space. It was
Mhm.
built in a fucking dry dock. It cruises in 20th century and 21st. I don't see that being an impressive size of a spaceship. You
Well, the
know,
only reason it's impressive is because of like it's not something we've seen in game. You're right in that like in real world perspectives, it's not huge, but like it's huge compared to the other ships we've seen so far in
to,
Star Citizen.
to not go
And it's
that way, because we talked about this so many times, and I just have a problem with the scale in this game in general, and I don't think it's gonna change. But I do
no.
believe that when I see Bengal, I'm gonna be like, okay, this is now we're talking. Like this is a proper size ship. Maybe I'm not gonna feel like that. I will report on it, but like that's my hope. Let's say
I still think you're going to feel disappointed, and I seriously
maybe.
think that it's because when you're in a ship, everything feels small.
I mean,
Even in a small
I
ship.
fly a two-seater aircraft in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I
Mhm.
landed on a carrier on Enterprise in New York, and it feels good.
Yeah.
And flying around it
Um,
and all that feels good. It feels like a big ship under me.
yeah, it's because you're flying very slowly compared to anything in Star Citizen. Seriously, I think it's the speed that gives everything the illusion of feeling small.
Dude, the numbers are there. It's just small.
What do you mean?
I mean, Idris is tiny,
Mhm.
and people are tripping that it's huge.
Well, it's huge compared to what we have, but
Well,
ultimately,
yeah,
yeah,
it's not huge compared to
because
what we have in Elite Dangerous. It's not huge compared to what we have in Eve Online. Because in Eve Online, if you see a Titan,
oh yeah,
you fucking shit. You're like, what? Wait,
of
this is a
course, different
ship?
universes. Yeah,
Well,
different universes, of course.
It's space.
Well, here's the thing though.
Wait, why are we going into this? I am
I don't know.
disappointed with
We've
the
been here
scale, and
before.
you can't earn me unless I see something really big. And that's it. That's just my opinion.
Yep. I think that's going to stay when you see the Bengal personally. Like
Okay,
I think
fair. Let's see.
it's going to be a big ship, but like I think when you're flying past it at 1,000 meters a second, it's going to feel
You know what I
pretty
think?
small.
Some ships, I think I will be okay with like size. Like Caterpillar, I'm okay with its size. I think I'm gonna be okay with the size of Kraken, which is something we can talk about as well because it's part of the. Because we
Oh,
had the
that's
sneak
right.
peek this week, which was a plush toy of a kraken. It's obvious. I mean, it's like covered
Yeah.
in something. We could see the tentacles and everything.
Yep. We are
And
going to get the Kraken for sure in Fleet Week.
see, I don't
It,
know about this, but I would like to see it.
the reason I think so is because when they first announced the Kraken, you could log into the game in Lorville Spaceport, look out the window, and see one. It was there,
That's
landed on
crazy.
pad physically. Um, but and now it's like I don't know, 2 years past that point. So it 100% would not surprise me if it was at the very least similar to that time that the Idris was in the IAE, where you could like go down and like walk around the Idris in that super big hangar. Which
Sure.
again, I
No, but
mean,
that's
if
cool. I like so when last year when we saw Reclaimer in that room, that gave you an idea of a scale. Reclaimer, another ship that I like the scale of.
yeah, it's huge.
It's I don't feel like it's that huge, but it's like a space.
Well, it's huge when you're like a dude sitting down next to landing
Yeah.
gear and you're
But I
like,
think that's perfect. Like that's a space garbage truck basically,
yeah,
almost.
oh, there you
And you,
go. We
yeah, I
already have
agree.
a garbage truck.
And I'm like, yes, this is a garbage truck in space. I agree with this scale. I don't agree with the scale of 890 jumping a cruise ship. That's a yacht. I don't know. You know what I mean? Same goes for it. Okay, now I'm going
Oh, you
there.
mean a
Where
capital ship, rather?
well, whatever. Yeah,
Well, I don't know. We all know the nomenclature in or ship classifications in Star
it's all
Citizen
screwed
and
up. Maybe
in
they're gonna
most
rework that.
sci-fi.
Yeah, true. They
You
might
know,
rework that.
the
Who
only reason
knows?
they call it that is because it actually has a capital class component
Yeah,
in it.
I'm not talking about like them. Well, it's more about like how the community or like content creators or like in general the general feel of these ships being so big. And I'm like, have you guys
Yeah.
ever seen a big ship in real life? And probably not, which is okay as well.
You know why too? Ultimately, here's what I think ultimately it comes down to game scale. You know what I mean? Like okay, yes, 300 meters, not super huge compared to some ships we have today, especially when you consider the actual like interior area. But the difference between this and let's say Eve is that they don't have to design the interior for a Titan. You know? They can just
No, I
design the
sure,
shell and do it, right? So
but it doesn't
even
help.
with
It
the
doesn't help my like subjective feel, right?
yeah, that's fair.
I can understand it and say like,
Like
sure, of
they've even said like the bangle that we get in Squadron 42 is probably not going to be the full bangle as far
course.
as the interior goes. But even in Squadron 42, you have to take a fucking train to get from one end to the other because it's
Yeah,
a kilometer long, you know, and when you're walking that in game time, like that would be like a fucking hour to get to one end to the other on foot. So that's the other thing where I think they've chosen to go with these
wait,
smaller
you're
ships. But
walking 1 kilometer an hour? That's fucking slow, bro.
wow, okay, I'm exaggerating, but still, it'll
Yeah,
feel like an hour
no,
if you're
it
just
would
sitting there
take you.
holding the sprint.
Actually, there were situations where it would take me 20 minutes to get from my room to where I work on board because the elevators and then different staircases and then waiting for this and that and so it could. Yeah, I actually think you're gonna be surprised with the scale of that ship. I think you're gonna be like, holy shit, this is so much bigger than I thought,
Well, yeah, no, I think it is.
and therefore I think I'm gonna be okay with it.
I don't know
Let's
because I
see.
still think the javelin is big.
I
You
don't.
know, when I'm actually like in EVA next to
I mean,
it
it's
and
big.
like
I'm not trying to say
jetpacking from
Javelin is
one to
not
the
big,
other. Yeah.
but it's smaller than today's biggest cruise ship. Not
Yes.
to mention cargo ships.
Yes.
Um. Okay, so there was something that this is data mining, kind of, but I more want to talk about like why and how this happened, because the file is found on PTU, which is basically a map of a show floor for every day, with like every ship being where it's supposed to be. And did they do this on purpose? Because I don't want to think that they're stupid enough to allow this? And then at the same time, how is this another one of those moments where you have Hercules on the show floor in the video and then it's not there? Where now the whole community, everyone will know that we have all of the Hercules, um, whatever, Redeemer, all these ships that it's there on the map, right? And then if it doesn't happen,
Sorry,
holy shit.
to clarify for anybody who's listening, there apparently was the maps of the show floor for the expeditions, the expo.
I've seen the
Uh,
maps.
yeah, like they're all released, so
They're
that's
not
what we're talking
apparently.
about, by
They
the way.
are they are real.
Mm,
What do you mean? What I mean, they exist. They are visible. Now, if they are correct or
yes,
not, I don't know. But that would
that's
be
all I'm
really
saying.
bad. Like that would be at this point, I don't mind CAG trolling leaks, but I do mind CAG trolling
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
Because
So
this
like, if
is a
there was,
big bullshit if that happens.
yeah, the only thing in like, okay, so the only thing that makes me question how official these are is that if you look down and to the right on the R or to the left on the RSI one, there's one that says like RSI concept shipped question mark, and that makes me go like, who did these? Are these actually CIGs? And if they are CIGs, then like, are these just very, very preliminary, like,
From
like design documents?
from what I know, it is. It's the file in the game.
Yes, but what I'm saying is like, is that file in the game
Oh,
something that they're
slip up
actively using
or
as like, or like something that they're still working on? Because like I said,
yeah,
there's
but
literally a
again, is that
question
is
mark
that okay?
on.
Because people are going to dig.
Well, if that's the way that you have to do it, and people are going to dig and find it, then I don't see the other option,
You
right?
can
Like,
you can use code names for that. What are you talking about?
uh,
You
I mean, okay,
Oh,
so
come on,
yeah, but
dude. Like there are files that like people are always digging for files in games and their studios are either like World of Warcraft on purpose allowing, you know, or like Destiny 2 where you don't fucking know what's going on when the new raid comes out and the race is real and whatnot. So it's either always a stupid slip where they're like, "Oh, shit, people found this." Or they're doing it on purpose because it brings publicity because now everyone's talking
or
about
they're
it.
not real.
What?
Or they're not real. That's the other. I'm sorry, but like, regardless of who's saying this, that is definitely still an option that should be considered here. So before anybody gets butthurt, if it comes out and it's not like this, then like, consider the source.
Okay, so here's my problem with that. If that's true, we have Tyler Vitakin who knows that people are looking through these maps. He should come
Hmm.
up on Twitter and say, guys, these maps are not ours. Hold your horses. This is not what we will have.
Sure, I agree.
That's it.
If that, yeah.
Because he knows. Of course he knows. I mean, for fuck's sakes, if you look at Twitch now, Captain
Oh,
Burks
I know
is
he knows because I know Jake knows, and if Jake
yeah.
knows, then Tyler
But
knows.
that's what I'm saying. Like so protect your backers and player base from disappointment. Again,
But
unnecessary disappointment.
I really don't think that there's realistically not going to be a C2 and M2 on that show floor, because it's supposed to be out by then, and so far they are still saying it's going to be out by then. So,
Well, there should be. There
yeah,
should be.
from Final Art. So,
What about Redeemer?
the Redeemer,
It's there.
I mean, we've seen a lot of the they
We've
said
seen
that
a
they're
lot of
literally,
C2 for the last time when Jeremy Clarkson was driving through
yeah,
it, and then it did
okay,
not
but
show up on the floor, and it was
sure,
super
fine.
disappointing.
The Redeemer, though, like, they've literally shown us the models and said that like, literally, they're on final art for the turrets and landing gear.
So you think it's going to be
Like,
there?
yeah,
I
yeah.
think everything you see on the map will be there. I'm just worried that if it doesn't show up, it will just bring another feeling of. Because some people will want to just see the Redeemer. They might download the game because they saw this to go there and see their ship. And if it's not there, they will be very disappointed. That's all.
Yep. Yep, I will say it did really really put a downer on things last year when they drove through a C2 and then the C2 wasn't on the floor.
Okay. Jorun had his moment and tweeted an image of 890 jump docked to a station because on current PTU that ship to station docking is working and it looks epic. It looks good. And I can imagine a feeling of this is kind of cool when you fly your 890 jump or something big, and instead of landing on a pad, you do the whole docking procedure, and then you walk out in the pipe and to the station. I think that's a nice thing. You don't care about it?
No.
Okay.
Honestly, everybody's so excited about ship to station docking.
I'm
and I
not
just don't
excited
care.
about it, but I think it's cool. Like, wouldn't you like
Okay.
it when you get to
Sure, it'll be cool.
the station, you see like two docked big ships instead of, I don't
Mhm. Yes,
know.
yes, it will be cool. But
And
like
it's
I don't know.
finally it's
Again,
gonna
like
be over with it. You know what I mean? As well.
it's just
So
not something I'm super hyped about. Like
fair.
I'm more excited about the tech working and meshing server or meshing physics grids and stuff like that than I am coming into seeing. I mean, sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. It'll be cool coming and seeing fucking Javelin or Idris or whatever docked to a space station. But yeah, I don't know. Like we've seen so much of this shit right now that I'm just like, meh, whatever. Okay, cool.
Wait,
There's
but
an
I'm talking
890
about. Are we talking about the same thing?
docking.
I'm talking about like player ships being docked. So you get
Yeah,
to a station and there's like
cool.
890 being docked and
Yep.
maybe yeah. I don't know. I think it will make the stations a little bit more alive.
I don't because you're never gonna fucking see it. You know, until we have NPC ships doing that, like it's the same problem that we're dealing with right now, and that there's 50 people in an entire fucking solar system.
Yeah.
So
Do you think they're gonna drop it to 40 or 30 when this happens?
yes,
But yeah, I think so as well. Just if I
it'll go
think
to
about like
40.
fucking Bengal, it's so much resources and whatnot, I guess.
Yep.
Okay, we're done with the news. Because we talked about PV bounties already
Yeah.
at the
Yeah.
beginning. So yeah,
Sort of. Yeah.
we have few other topics. They're not like as expendable as usual. Yeah. So let's start with this. Speaking of docking and 890 jump, I've been listening to several podcasts and in general like YouTube videos and even some streams where there's just like two groups of people. We're going to talk about like luxurious gameplay and luxurious ships, and there's like two sides to this story. One, there are people who are extremely excited about this gameplay, and the other that is like, why the fuck are we spending resources on making luxury ships when they're completely useless?
That's a stupid argument.
And I think both are. One side is slightly might be in the wrong, but we don't know in general. And then the other one, shut the fuck up. Like, it's space. It has ships, and some of the ships are luxurious, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Any anybody who's like crying about like wasted money on luxury ships or whatever, like did you miss what this game is about? This is about a universe. You know, like if all you wanted was military ships, go fucking play a military game. I don't know, like in order for a universe to feel alive,
You need
these
civilian stuff. All
ships,
right.
yes, like this variety of ships has to be there. Um,
Ah,
though on the other side of things, and this is what I was saying to you earlier this week, I think the people who constantly trot out the why do we need luxury ships or what's the point of luxury ships, and they just like throw luxury gameplay or like VIP gameplay. They just like throw that at that argument. I think that's also, I mean,
I think that's
I
okay. Maybe
I don't think it is. Frankly, or rather, like, sure, I don't. I think that there will be some gameplay, but I don't think that it'll be, at least initially, anyways. I don't think that it'll be as as fleshed out, and as full time as people think it is. And I think people who are buying these luxury ships and using that as logic behind why they're buying these ships should probably reevaluate their expectations and buy them because they like them, not because they think it's going to make them boatloads of money, or that it's going to be full time and interesting gameplay for the entirety of their Star Citizen experience. Because I don't think that that's the case.
I disagree, but and I'll explain. But I see your point. However, I see. Well, first of all, let's put this out of the way. Like so you have, let's say Constellation. I know you don't like it, but like let's take Constellation for an example. And I would personally rather fly Phoenix than Andromeda, for example, as my everyday driver. I think you would agree with me. Like in
Yeah.
that like comparison, yeah, it's a little bit less powerful, although you can tweak it to almost the same, except for the
Not
missiles, right?
really. How is it less powerful?
It has less missiles,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and, and then it has a little bit less cargo space, where Andromeda has 96 SU and Phoenix has 80.
Mhm.
But it has windows, it has a bar, it has a jacuzzi, proper places to sleep and whatnot, and it opens up luxury gameplay probably to some extent. So I'd rather have that ship than and I kind of like how it looks. But again, this is like personal preference thing, which we both agree. Like there are people who just want to have a luxury ship, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's fine.
Well, I think the primary difference is the people who are just playing this game, for like from a purely functional standpoint, which isn't necessarily wrong, though
No,
I think that
to
you're
each their
missing
own,
a
right?
large like potential part of the richness of what this game is trying to be. Um, like that's just how some people play the game. And if that's how they want to play the game, then that's fine. But yeah, I mean,
A
the
choice is
Phoenix.
okay, right? It's just
Yes, but the Phoenix does, like, when you walk back into that rear section, it feels nice. Like it's a
it
nice
feels nice.
place.
Yeah,
And again, like there, I know for a fact there are people who don't give a shit about that. They walk back there and
that's
they go,
okay.
okay, this is a level, you know,
Yeah,
like, or it's a
and then those
space. It's
people
something I
should
have
have,
to move through.
either Taurus
Andromeda, yeah,
or Andromeda. Yeah, and then
or
that's
Aquila
okay.
for that matter, depending on what they're
Yeah,
trying to do.
exactly.
But but
Um.
yeah, like
Okay, so I'm just gonna go back and counter your point here, and I'm not even playing devil's advocate here. I feel like if you think cargo trading is going to be a full loop, I think cargo trading equals um luxury gameplay equals prisoner delivery equals data transfer
yeah,
in
I
a way.
disagree, and that's primarily because I've watched the 2019 CitizenCon panel on Quanta. Um, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not necessarily saying that luxury gameplay won't exist and that it won't be a gameplay that is somewhat similar to cargo running, but at the end of the day, it's a very very small niche
Yeah, but
of that
sure.
system. Whereas like literally the entire Quanta system runs on cargo hauling.
Sure. It will, like, cargo hauling will be more um developed in a way where you can do like more like
Yeah,
different stuff. However, I don't think you will ever run out of luxury missions, because in a world where we are 10%, I think there will always be a mission to fly person or family from
mhm,
point A to point B that requires certain amount of luxury,
sure.
and will pay more for that.
And that, but my point, and you said it specifically, that the cargo hauling gameplay, or like that whole mechanic, will be a lot more widely built out than VIP transportation specifically. And that is why I think people who throw the VIP gameplay at any criticism of luxury gameplay are needing to adjust their expectations, because I think the VIP gameplay, while yes, sure, it may be constantly available, it's going to be a relatively small gameplay niche as far as like development and as far as like variety and game mechanics, etc., goes, compared to some of the more major mainstream gameplay.
But here's the
And
thing, I agree. I cannot disagree. Although we don't know, but I'm pretty sure we are we are correct on this, where it's not gonna be as, developed as cargo, obviously. Because cargo is literally veins of the system because of quanta. However, you play your truck simulator, for example, where you literally just drive your truck from point A to point B, and yeah, you have different cargo or different trailer. But for some people, that's enough gameplay. And
yeah,
if you're that person and you want to fly, VIPs from point A to point B, I don't think you will lack content. And if that's what you're looking for, I think it's okay to defend the development of luxury ships, which you don't have that many anyways. It's only a few, right?
well, this is a thing. Like, I don't think that the development of luxury ships needs to be defended by saying that there's going to be
It
gameplay for
doesn't,
it.
but if you're very passionate about certain type of gameplay, I mean, defending it makes you enjoy the project more. What I'm trying to say, I don't blame people who I'm not going to play this kind of a gameplay. Or maybe if I have Phoenix, sometimes I might pick up
Yeah,
Summer or whatever the fuck, but I don't
that's
care
it.
about it. But
And
what I'm
and
saying,
and
if I was, I'd be excited about it. You know what I mean? I
sure,
think that's okay.
you can be excited about it, but I still think that you're up for disappointment if that's what you want to do full time. Not that,
Let
not again, like, not to say that it's not going to be there, just that, like, like, for example, if you are specifically doing luxury, that means that you're limiting yourself to a very few specific ships, and also potentially a very few specific landing zones, which means that you are
why?
like with those.
Why
Why?
landing
Because
zones?
why? Because rich people aren't going to want to go to Grim Hex. Rich people aren't going to want to go Nyx
What?
or
Yeah, but
Pyro
what if there's
or
some landing zones where you can only land with the luxury ship?
yeah, sure. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's going to be the one, right? Like, those are going to be the places that you're allowed to go, or that you're going to go with, and it's going to be less or fewer
I,
rather than
I think you're
if you are
stretching
doing
this.
than if you're going to be doing any sort of gameplay. Like,
Because you can
cargo
you
can go
can still
anywhere.
well, yeah, but I can cargo to Grimhex with my Phoenix, especially because it has a healing
Sure, but that's not
compartment, right?
luxury gameplay.
It's not, but what I'm saying,
It's
like,
not
you can still,
VIP
that's what I'm
gameplay.
saying, but you can still do other stuff with
Sure.
your luxury ship.
Okay, and I think we need to be very clear here. I'm not criticizing that luxury ships shouldn't exist. What
Sure.
I'm
No, no, I know,
saying
I
is
know, I
that I
know.
don't think that the VIP gameplay is going to be as robust as a lot of
Can
the
I
other roles.
can I
And
give
that's
you
it.
can I give you an idea of luxury gameplay being a full loop? Like, enough for someone.
I know it's going to be a full
No, no,
loop.
no. Wait,
Again, I'm not
wait,
saying it's not going
wait.
to.
Let me explain. Wait. So right now we get ships the way they are, right? We can't change anything except for like the loadout. But I play Elder Scrolls Online, and I have people who play Elder Scrolls Online and Final Fantasy 14, and they are all about housing. So what if your luxury gameplay is semi, you know, decorating your ship inside?
Then we're potentially like talking about blending it and connecting it with like homesteading and other
Yes.
like okay.
But like, maybe, some parts are only, usable or have effect in a luxury ship or something like that.
I
I mean,
just
this is
thought of a
Imagine,
situation
obviously.
I just thought of a situation to disprove my own argument about like how luxury gameplay wouldn't go to some of the seedier places. Obviously, if you're a crime boss, you're not going to be
Hey.
fucking schlepping around in a Drake Caterpillar, you're gonna be, traveling in a 600i
Yeah,
or something like that.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So there might be underworld VIP
for
transportation
sure.
too.
Um, yeah, and then to add on top of that, for those who don't want luxury ships, you're missing you're missing out. Not missing out. You're like, you don't understand how big the RP communities are. And World of Warcraft has literally servers where if you have a name that is not
You know
RP-ish,
what?
you get kicked out.
I think um I think GTA Online is probably the better place to look for like accurate kind of like more side grade kind of RP communities between like GTA Online and Star Citizen. Like that
Sure. I,
I
I just
think
want to
I
say,
think
like,
GTA.
I think Elder Scrolls Online, for example, I'm taking these like pillars of proper MMOs, right? And I want to say there's full servers of
Mhm.
RP people in World of Warcraft. I think at
Yeah.
least 30-40 population of Elder Scrolls Online is RPing in one way or the other. And I think Star Citizen has open gates for very easy RP, just like in GTA, because you can just play a human being, right? And you're RPing already. Um, and and these people, guess what? They will love luxury ships in some situations, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So
you're already seeing that even in the incarnation that Star Citizen's in right now.
some of it
So
is so
again, like I'm
good, like
like
the executive ship for
so
Stanton. What's the name? Tamarelli, where like all the executives of from
oh
the
yeah, yeah,
teams
yeah,
are
yeah,
up
yeah.
there and they're
Yeah.
watching from
Yeah.
above, and Darius is driving. It's just so easy to RP, and some of these people are not even RPers. You know what I mean? But they
Yeah,
still
they're
are
just hanging
there.
out in a cool
Yeah.
place and like, hanging out with people. Well, and that's in my opinion, that's more where you're gonna see them used, or at least more commonly used, and that's as social situations for organizations and like
Have a
and
meeting in.
yeah. So again, I don't I'm definitely not on the other side saying that
I,
luxury ships shouldn't
I
exist.
know,
Like
I
I
know, I know.
absolutely want them to, but I do think that people should temper their expectations about how much and how varied the gameplay is going to be, especially initially. Um, but again, like even
Or
then, I
until we
don't
get
think that
some more stuff.
sure,
As of right now, yeah.
even then, I don't think that there's any argument for saying that we shouldn't be wasting blah 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 blah. You know, and I think in a lot of cases too, a lot of the people who are saying this are like, well, they're saying this because like the ship that they want isn't necessarily coming to the game or whatever, and they want the ship teams to be working on their ship,
Yeah.
that they want instead. And I think if you're upset about ship creation bandwidth, you should really be looking at Squadron 42 instead of looking at teams who work on luxury ships or ships that you don't care about. Because we know for a fact that a large part of the ship development pipeline is devoted to Squadron 42 ships.
And some of them are
Um,
maybe even complete, but they don't want to spoil or
y-
whatever.
yeah,
Which in
exactly.
my
Like
I'm disgusted by that, but it is what it is.
some of the like the Van Duel ships and stuff like that. Like we've seen some clips from like some of the Van Duel capital ships and stuff like that, and those things are monsters. I
I don't trust
guarantee you,
these.
there's a lot of the ship bandwidth used for that.
I'm just gonna say I don't trust the cinematic teams to be using the assets that are playable. I mean, Jeremy Clarkson in C2, the whole
Mhm.
fucking what is Star Citizen. I mean that's literally a team of very
I never
talented
said that they'd be
people.
playable.
Oh, well, I don't even know if they're like they can make a cinematic of something just based on
Okay,
concept art.
well, like we know that the Van Duel ships are going to have to exist,
Of
basically.
course, yeah.
So, like, clearly, there's some bandwidth being. In fact, I would say a lot of bandwidth being devoted to creating those, even if it's
Yeah.
just the outer shell. In fact, I would
Oh
say that
yeah, yeah.
in most situations, it's the outer shell. But like,
I,
that's
I just
taking
had to
bandwidth.
jab the cinematic team being used as a lie. I don't know. I don't like that. All right. Yeah. I mean, in general, I think we agree. We both have nothing against. Quite the opposite. We want luxury ships to be part of the game. Why not? Okay. So we were talking about the Squadron 42 now, and our next topic is actually, will Squadron 42 be open world game or not? So not Star Citizen, Squadron 42 specifically, and what if it's not? And
Well,
I'll let you drive us through this one because you know more.
Well, I guess like I don't think it will be fully open world. But like we've seen from the vertical slice a few years ago seemed to indicate that it's at least partially open world. Like I don't think you'll be able to just hop into your ship and fly out of your carrier whenever you feel like it, because ultimately you're still a military pilot. But it also did seem like it's not a strict from what we saw in the vertical slice anyways. It didn't seem like it's as strict as, let's say, like Wing Commander or some of these other games where the only time you're out of your character is when you're on mission. It did kind of sound like you're almost more of like an operative of some sort, insofar as like you have a generic mission that you've been assigned as an officer, a pilot off of the Stanton, the UEES Stanton, which is your ship that you're on. So it,
you expect it to be kind of on rails, but probably like have an option to do side quest missions or
yes,
something like that.
that's what I'm expecting. Like, because it in the vertical slice, they launched off the ship, and like they flat out said like, okay, well, we have this thing over here that's maybe worth scoping out, and then we have this distress beacon over here, or like go talk to this lady who who tells you that where to find this other operative that you're looking for. But it sounded like that was kind of optional. So it seemed to me that there was definitely an open world aspect to this. But
wasn't Freelancer, I don't remember now, I have so many mixed things in my head, it was so long ago, but wasn't the beauty of Freelancer that you could basically do whatever the fuck you want to do?
I never played the single player of Freelancer. I only ever played multiplayer, so I don't really know how that happened.
I think it was like, if I remember that correctly, that was like one of the first proper open world games, at least
It
when it
was
comes
in
to
multiplayer
space.
for sure, but like I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know how they did it in the single player campaign because I never
I
played it.
so want to play that game, man. I found it on GOG, but I think the optimization is very, very bad. But
It was really fun. I played with
yeah.
my roommates at the time. We all kind of like just like hosted a local server and kind of played on that, and it was a good time.
Mm.
But yeah, so I like
The reason we came up with this whole is because right now, if you look at the games that came out recently, that Squadron 42 will fight against for their place in gaming universe, especially like marketing wise and just player base, like they're part of player base. We have let's go a little bit back. So we have Witcher 3, where you have the main story, but main story is like maybe 10% of the game. If you can do the main story in a couple of hours and you're done, and I know people who do that, or you can play that game for, I know people who literally play this game for hundreds of hours, because you can
how many?
Hmm?
Well, yeah, I played it for.
Oh, you have it. Nice.
Oh yeah, Witcher 3 was amazing. So good. And the
It's still
expansion
good.
packs were
Yeah.
spectacular. And I haven't even I played for 138 hours, and I still have 2 expansion packs that I haven't finished, which are like full on 30-hour campaigns.
Yeah. Plus like side whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah.
We have Skyrim. These are old games still, right? But Skyrim,
Dude,
I know people
there's
have
a ton.
thousands of hours played in Skyrim.
Horizon Zero Dawn was
Horizon
another
Zero Dawn.
one.
We have
You had
let's get the newer stuff. We had Cyberpunk. where you
Yeah.
have linear story, but you can
Red
lose
Dead.
yourself in that game absolutely. For people who like
Yeah.
single player aspects of it.
Red Dead
Red
2.
Dead the same, like Red Dead
Um,
massive map. You can go fishing all day. You can be a hunter. You can, and I'm not talking about Red Dead Online. I'm talking about like Red Dead Redemption 2.
yeah. What
So,
was
hmm?
what was that walking simulator one? That was the meme name for it. I can't remember what the oh god. It
I
was
don't
like
remember.
I don't know. Anyways, another open world kind of single player game. Yeah, so
Oh,
definitely Death
ah,
Stranding.
oh,
Death
Death
Stranding.
Stranding,
Yeah.
which by the way is a really good game from what I've seen and heard, and people are trying to make me do it.
Yeah.
But that game is semi multiplayer. You know that. Like,
Is
let's
it?
say it's crazy. We can like talk about this once, but like, for example, you're alone in the world, but other players who are playing the game in their own lone world are affecting your world, somewhat like
Oh,
Star
I did
Citizen.
not know that.
So, for example,
Huh.
if I build a ladder somewhere and you get to the ladder is there, and you can
Huh.
use the ladder that I've built, which is crazy. Very good. Um, anyways, these are the games that are taking the player base of single player, enthusiasts to where they feel like being at home. And I am afraid that if Star Citizen does not offer, not Star Citizen, sorry, um, and mind it, like GTA Online as well. So sorry, GTA 5 and GTA 6 about to come. So RDR, all these games, they also have multiplayer option. Most of them
Yeah.
do, right? Like Elder
Yeah.
Scrolls Online is basically if you don't want to play Skyrim anymore, you can get into Elder Scrolls Online, play an MMO, which is not the same, but it's there, it's the same world and all that. And so, but we're talking about like single player open world stuff. And I feel like in today's day and age, if Squadron 42 comes out and is completely on rails without the option of exploring that one system, I don't expect Squadron 42 to let you jump to Stanton or Terra or like whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you're in Odin, right? But if I hope that they have the Odin system fully functional where you can sit in your ship and do delivery missions if in a single player. And I think if you cannot do this, I'm afraid that the harsh reality of single player game expectations nowadays might hit Squadron hard. I don't think it would like fuck it up in terms of sales, but I think it will fuck it up in terms of Squadron of the next chapter.
I can't comment on that from a AAA perspective because most of the AAA games that I've played with the single player are open world, obviously. I know that there are some AAA titles that aren't, like Call of Duty
Wait.
and stuff like
Well, yeah,
that,
but
but
it's a
those are
shooter game,
a
right?
different, yeah, and the bulk of the game is played on multiplayer.
Multiplayer, yeah. Let's just
Um,
sorry, because you said something. I just want to. Are we looking at Star Citizen as a game that's fighting AAA games or not? Because the
I
funding.
think they're definitely pitching themselves to be
I mean,
that.
who's the potential player base? People who play AAA games or not? I think they are.
I don't know. Like, are there people who don't play AAA games like 100%? I don't know. Like, I play some AAA
But what
games. I
what
play
I'm
some
trying to
indie
say,
games. Like,
I see Squadron. I hope to see Squadron 42 on par any AAA game because the funding is there. I think the only reason they are in the studio technically is so that they don't have someone above their head to tell them this is the date.
yeah,
The rest
yeah,
of it is the same as any other AAA studio, right? Or
yes.
better.
I still think that like for Squadron 42 specifically, budget wise, I guess it's pretty close to AAA levels. I still think it's a little low, given that
I,
they're supposedly building two games that share the same
I,
engine.
I mean, resource wise, man, especially if you go into who they hired for voice acting and everything, I think that's just
That's
case
true.
closed, man. That's
Yeah, that's true.
that's not an
Okay, yeah,
indie
fair
studio,
enough.
right?
You know what? You know, actually, like that move right there in like employing those sorts of actors right there puts them at a point where they're obviously setting their sights on a AAA
Yeah.
market.
It's not Keanu Reeves, but it's not Keanu Reeves, if we're being fair. You know what I
It's
mean?
Luke fucking
Yeah.
Skywalker, and
Yeah.
you know, like even if all you've seen is the
Dana
new
Scully,
Star
bro.
Wars,
Like,
you
you know
know
what I
who
mean?
that
Like,
is. Well, those like people who don't know Gillian Anderson, I'll cut you some slack because that's like
oh,
X Files. That's from a
who
long
doesn't
time
know
ago.
X Files? Yeah, but
But there's other people in there as well. You know, like
wait, even the
Gary
movie?
Oldman from Batman,
Yeah.
and from a whole bunch of other stuff.
No, they have a lineup
You know,
of voice actors
yeah,
is fucking sick. By the way,
yeah,
I'll tell you something. This is how crazy this is. So Fallout 76 came out and it was an empty world, right? And people were crying about it, even though I didn't mind it because the storyline was fucking amazing. Um and um then they brought NPCs into it. And I ended up in the, like I was doing something and I ended up in this bar and there's like two people. There's an NPC female who is being threatened by some guy that I shoot to save her. And then out of nowhere, her partner or whatever, a guy who works there in a bar, shows up and starts talking to me. And I'm like, dude, I'm really enjoying listening to this guy. And I'm like, I know this voice. I know this voice. And I'm like, wait, is this Jason Mewes from like Jay and Silent Bob? And I like, here's the thing. This stands on my desk all the time. That's Kevin Smith, Silent Bob from Jay and Silent Bob. And I'm like, this has to be Jason Mewes, man. I can recognize this voice. There's no way. I love these guys. And I go to EMDB and I'm like, Fallout 76, Jason Mewes, Fallout 76. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. And this is the power of like you recognize his voice, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna do every fucking quest with this guy to hear him,
yeah,
like
yeah,
so
yeah.
there's
I always
so
feel
much into
bad.
it.
I always feel bad because I always call him the Onion Knight, which is who he was in Game of Thrones, and I can never remember his. Is it John Rhys Davies? I don't remember. Anyways, but he's the same way. Like when that guy talks, I'm just like, yeah, just keep talking.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean they're recognizing some it has power, it's yeah, it's a thing. Anyways, sorry about that. Um so yeah, you were I stopped you basically from
Oh, it's Liam Cunningham. Sorry.
oh I yeah, Liam. I stopped you when you were comparing it to other triple. So let's talk
Well, I'm
about
just
it
basically,
from that perspective. Is it's almost a
yeah.
triple A game, right?
All I
Same
wanted to
audience.
say is that I don't know if if being on Rails necessarily means it's going to flop, because I still think there are examples of those like kind of more curated single player experiences out there. Um,
Give me the examples. Because I'll be honest, I'm not trying to prove you wrong. I am not a single player. I never even played Witcher 3. I watched it all on YouTube because I've read all the books, but I did not enjoy the single player. I mean, I just did not enjoy the movement and combat and all that.
mhm. Honestly, I don't play a lot, so I'm not the best resource for this. But like, I would say the most recent Tomb Raider, if I'm not mistaken, was pretty on Rails,
Is it?
and that did really well.
But here's the thing: the
Um,
Tomb Raider, though, it's like okay. I think it's. Are you sure?
no,
Because Far Cry, for example, is open world.
yeah.
We don't say like Fallout games are 3 and 4 full open world
Well, yeah,
moddable.
yeah, like they've been doing that for a
Yeah,
decade now. Um,
I'm just trying to think about like let me do this.
that's kind of the problem, because
Top
like I definitely don't prioritize
single
single player
player
games.
AAA games in 2020. Okay. Let me see what comes up. Hitman, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Wasn't that open world as well?
I meant to play that one, never did.
By the way,
Apparently, it was really
may
good.
the Ford be with you. Everything's 50% off on Steam, so you can buy it now. Rise of the Tomb Raider, which you mentioned, Sekiro, okay, but these games, Sekiro and other of their games are more of like I don't. They're not open world, but they're so skill check games. It's kind of different. It's right.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you could say that the space and first person shooter combat in a game is skill checky, or do you mean like platformer specifically?
But it's
Because like
almost a platformer where you like if you know you have to know how the boss works or you die, and then you have
yeah,
to like start
yeah,
from the last checkpoint.
yeah,
Even though they're like beautiful world, 3D environment and everything, but yeah. Resident Evil, I would assume that that would be on rails. And then
yeah.
still
I
it says
guess
Witcher 3 because just fucking the game will never die.
yeah. Well, it had a resurgence when the show came out, right? Like that's why it's up there
True.
on that
Yeah.
list. Because the show came out. Was it last
Outer
year? Was it the
Worlds
year
came
before?
out. That was pretty
That
much
was
open
kind of
world as well, right?
it was pretty open world. I played it.
Looks good. I think it was
It's not.
short, kind of.
It's really mediocre. It's
No,
not
no, I
very
mean
good.
it looks good as in like visually. I kind of liked the looks. I like that post-apocalyptic idea.
Yeah, I felt kind of like it was trying too hard to be Borderlands.
What about Wolfenstein?
I never played Wolfenstein except for like way, way, way
Well,
early
the first
Wolfenstein.
one, but no, but a Young Blood
Yeah.
and whatnot. Well, Young Blood has
No,
not come out yet. But
that's the thing. Like those sorts of games that don't really show up on my radar because it's not what I usually play. Same
I
thing
don't
with like
think they
Doom
exist,
Eternal. No,
man.
actually Doom. That's
Okay, Doom.
um
But I see where like these are the games that really have long history of very focused single player on rails
yeah. But so
experience.
does Wing Commander, really, and like like that's kind of
Yeah, but
what
Wing
Squadron
Commander,
42 is
but
a succession
well,
of.
no, isn't it succession of Freelancer actually? Freelancer
No,
was the
no, no,
last
no,
one.
nope, nope, nope. Starlancer, if anything, but
Well, okay.
Starlancer was basically a Wing Commander clone, except for
When did Starlancer come
slightly
out?
newer. 2003, I think.
I wonder if that's still playable. I would stream some of these games actually.
I loved Starlancer. I had a lot of fun with it,
I never played
specifically
Starlancer.
because
I played Freelancer.
the thing I liked about Starlancer is that like there was no direct upgrade path as far as, well, I mean, sort of, as far as like what ships you used. Like it's pretty much like what you liked flying with. And I
Hmm,
completed the entire game in one of the first ships you get.
that's cool. You
Simply
feel good
because,
about
well,
it.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it was kind of cheese because it has a cloaking device on it. It's like the only ship that has a cloaking device, but it's like it's basically the starter ship that you start with a cloaking device on it.
Hmm.
But I had so much fun playing in that ship. I played the entire game in it. I'm reasonably certain you're not supposed to, but I did. Um, that's
Hear
what I
me
liked
out.
about Star
We
Lancer. But
forgot about
yeah,
one big name, and that is Assassin's Creed. And these are all
oh,
open world.
yeah, that's open world. Yeah,
They're
I was gonna
all
say
I
that's
played
not on
them,
rails.
so I don't like them, but I play them, and they're very very open world. Great games. I just can't. I hate them. Okay, so hear me out. On rails, single player experience is a very much console game nowadays,
Yes, yep,
and
I
I
would say
don't
so.
think on rails single player experience right now can survive on
I
or can
okay, but
hardly survive on PC.
this is the
This
thing.
is
Like
my take
you
though. I
say,
could be wrong.
yeah, like you say that it can't survive, and I'm not convinced that that genre is dead. I think that the industry has gone more towards open world because it's been shown that they
It's just
sell
more
well
fun.
and they get lots of hours in. But like I've played indie games that are like focused kind of single
Eh,
player, and I have a great time because they tell a
Yeah, but you
story and
expect
then you're
that from
done.
an indie game. When you get into
Yeah,
a game that is 60, $70, it looks like fucking amazing and you just expect to be able to explore.
I guess, but like
We
I
don't
guess
know. We might be able to, right? So we don't know. But like if we
yeah,
don't, that's I don't know.
I still think it's going to be somewhat on rail. Like they've even said that it's going to be more on rails. It's not going to be fully open world, if I'm not mistaken.
I
Um,
don't know. I don't like that. I don't even care about Squadron, which we know. I want Squadron to be great game. I want to be extremely successful. I want it to sell as much as possible because if it
Yeah.
fails, I'm afraid for the game that I care for.
You know, all I really want them to do, sell it to consoles. Please.
Absolutely. The problem is
Please
if
put
they
Squadron
sell
42 on
Squadron,
Xbox and PlayStation.
but I think then they have to have Star Citizen there as well.
I'm fine with that too.
I'm
I have
fine
no
with it as well,
problems
but
with
I don't know
that.
if they will go there. That's the problem.
Well, I with the current gen like of systems, I think like the idea of the hardware not being able to keep up
Yeah, yeah,
isn't
no,
really
I don't think
realistic
the hardware
anymore.
is an
But
issue though
I think more so
anymore.
it's probably the back end and stuff like that that would be kind of maybe trickier to kind of modify to work on it. But I don't know. I mean,
And
I'm
then
not like
limitations, like you just have a control. Here's a pro. So I hate the fact that the MMO that I'm playing, which is Elder Scrolls Online, is obviously made for consoles because it has a bar swap, and you have like 5+1 ability, and then you swap your bar, and then you have 5 more +1. So,
mm,
which is people fight me on this saying like, yeah, but it came on PC first, and I'm like, it came on PC first with the idea of expanding on consoles. Like you guys are if you don't, I
well,
understand you don't see this, but
frankly,
like,
yeah, like if you're I'm sorry, but like these days, if you are building a AAA game that you want to like maximize the profits, you have to release to consoles. You just do. Like
sure,
they're
but
just
here's the problem is MMO, and now
yeah,
Elder Scrolls Online is not cross-platform. We don't have people from PS and Xbox playing with us. However, we are limited with our skill bars and the whole gameplay mechanic. We are
yeah,
limited with like housing, where we cannot have more than 700 items in a house because fucking PS4 will explode if you add one more
sure.
item. And this is an issue. Like, do I?
Yes.
I don't
If I
mind Star Citizen being
mhm,
on board. I do mind if consoles are fucking hindering my
yes.
gameplay on PC.
Well, and that in that case, I don't think that that'll be the case. Just, and I mean, again, I know that this is me talking about CR, which like anything you have to, he says is like take with a grain of salt. But like, but he did build this game specific. Like, watch the 2012 trailer. You know, like he's a PC gamer and he wanted to build a game for PC.
Yeah, but how are you going
Um,
to compete with that on this?
building in an in-game voice attack is a start.
Okay. Yeah, I guess.
I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
like,
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
but,
Maybe.
but
I mean, let's give them a
ultimately,
benefit of the doubt and let them be
benefit of the doubt for
revolutionary.
sure. Yeah, like if basically if they dumbed it down to go to consoles, I would have a problem with it for sure.
I'm playing
But
Elder Scrolls
Squadron
Online. I'm
42,
scared of this as fuck, man. I hope you understand. Like, I just it's killing me from the inside. It could have been so much better
yeah,
game.
Squadron 42 though, like I feel
It has to go. It's just
you could probably make that go on console. And but like it's like I said, even if they decided they wanted to push Star Citizen, so long as they could do it without dumbing things down. And frankly, I would be cool with there being crossplay too. And also, like, especially with Xbox, I know Xbox has been really well. Microsoft has been really pushing lately to like connect basically Xbox with PC, like having them
mm,
using the same operating systems. Even,
yeah.
I mean, I don't think they're there yet, but like that's definitely a direction they're going.
Oh,
So
you can even use mouse and keyboard now.
yeah, yeah, and yeah. At any rate, I still think if they do a more curated experience, it won't necessarily write it off from being successful. But I think you're right in saying that like it's clear that single player games have gone to an open world format right now,
Mm.
mostly for the best. I think personally, because
Yeah.
I enjoy that sort of format.
Well, there's nothing worse than like
But
trying to go somewhere and there's like invisible wall and I can't, or just okay. I feel like doing something now and
well,
chill and
just
I
yeah,
can't.
the ability to just like take your game in the direction you feel like going at that time.
Yeah,
Though I will say at the same time, it doesn't really work very well for telling an like a narrative.
an epic
Like
arc
not
like story.
not when you think about it. Like for example, um like Cyberpunk most recently for me, like I get a message that's basically like mission critical, like, oh my god, please come save me, and I'm like, nah, I'm gonna go do
Okay,
some
yeah.
side missions first. You know what I
But
mean?
that's your choice, right? That's your
Sure,
choice. The
but the
game.
game allows me to do it, and like really, like at the like
But if
I
you
don't
don't
really
have that choice, then
care.
just don't make a game. Just make a TV show. You know what I mean?
I mean, I guess, but like
This is why I don't play single player games. I will sit down and watch the whole TV show in one go and enjoy it, rather than or read the book. And I just don't get the kick from single player games anymore. I used to. I'm not against them, but I'm just like I'm gonna sit, eat something, and binge watch something rather than being active in that TV show or a book. Which single player game literally is, right? If it's on rails. I probably shouldn't give this idea because Chris Roberts always wanted movies, TV shows, and shit like that.
that is true. That is true, and they tried that actually with
I know.
Black Mirror, which I don't know. Like I'm less like I'm still willing to engage in a game that's more on rails, because like if the gameplay is fun, and especially in the case where, like, for example, in the case of Star Citizen or Squadron 42, we know that the choices you make influence how the story plays.
Wait, actually, wait. You're. It doesn't matter. It can make you go through the entire story and then open the world for you, right?
Isn't
You
that
have
kind
to.
of
You're saying that in Cyberpunk, it tells you, you need to. What if you're not able of like moving around until when you're done playing the game, the whole world opens and you can continue exploring it, doing side
isn't that
missions. What?
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, isn't that just
Star
Star
Citizen.
Citizen then?
It is, but that Star Citizen is multiplayer. It requires interconnection, interaction with other people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who just enjoy playing their single player game. Like,
And you know what? I guess from a narrative perspective, there are ways where you can make things feel realistic-ish, and still allow people that open world experience. Like, for example, like when I get the message in Cyberpunk that it's mission critical and my god, like this person needs help immediately, just put a timer on me. That's fine.
and let
Like,
that
and
person die, and you failed
yeah,
it.
exactly. That's fine. That means, but like, maybe give me the option when I'm accepting the mission. Like there's a couple parts in Cyberpunk where it says like, yo, if you go and you accept this mission right now, no going back. Like,
Yeah,
like
it affects
like
everything.
this is a story pivot,
Yeah.
right? And that's fine. That would be cool too. But yeah. I don't know. Like, personally, I think it would be really cool if Squadron 42 was like open world in such a way that that you could just like, like you're on Stanton, you're between missions, you can just go hop in your Gladius and be like, I'm
You
following
mean
a lead. You know what I mean? Like
Odin, or you said Stanton?
on the Stanton, the ship that you're
Oh,
based on,
this. Okay.
called the Stanton.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
And like you don't have a mission critical briefing or anything to go to, like you're just kind of being more of a detective or something like that. Like I got some leads to follow up. You just go hop in your ship, basically file your flight plan, and take off. So I could see it being open world
I would
like
also
that.
hope that you'll be able to like have your own multiple ships.
I don't think you will.
Well, I don't think you will either, but I think I think that's necessary for the game to be the next Skyrim, which they want.
You know what? And now that you mention it, literally every Chris Roberts game has always had a ship progression.
Yep.
Like you
But on
start off
rails,
flying.
kind of.
I think it was yeah. Like it's like when you pass this mission, or like in the case of Starlancer, it depends on like how well you do. So like if you are only completing every mission at a bronze level, like you won't get a gold level fighter craft unlocked.
But we live
You know
in another era now. We can't like honestly, that's where the boomerism fear in me is. If they are making another Wing Commander, only people who are 40 plus will play it. And
pretty much the only people who've played who've already bought it then.
Yeah.
Basically.
So that's not good.
No, I agree.
Because I played Freelancer, I still enjoy Star. You know what I mean? Like I can enjoy the newer open
No, but
world game.
what I'm saying is that like what my point was there is that like there was ship progression in
Yeah,
previous ER games, so it's possible that Squadron 42 will still have that.
I,
Like actually, now that I
yeah,
think
but
about it, I
I hope that
assume.
you're gonna be able to go to New Deal somewhere and buy a fucking ship.
Oh, I don't think that's going to be the
Well,
case.
I hope it will because you can buy a horse in Red Dead
Yeah, but
Redemption, a different wagon, or a different. You can get any car in
yeah, but like,
GTA.
but but you're a military pilot,
So what? You're
you know,
military
like.
pilot, and you are done with your military duties at the end of the storyline, and now you're a civilian.
And now you start with your Aurora in the
Or
persistent
or you
universe.
start with your F8 Lightning, the same one that you will have in in Persistent Europe. But what if you don't want to play with other people, dude? There's so many people who don't want to play.
No.
Okay, there's more people that want to play single player experience in their own pace, where the world stops when they log out, than people
Mhm.
who want to play MMO. Do you understand that?
Yeah,
Like
I
from the
won't argue that.
global player
Well,
base. Oh,
okay, where's that
100%.
data coming from though? This is coming from your experience, but like I would actually need to see some data to
No,
believe a
there's more
statement like
people
that.
playing games on consoles than on PC.
Okay, that's true.
That's it. There
But
you go.
well, okay, but that's because MMOs are still something that are a regular a relatively new phenomenon for consoles. So I don't know. Does that even make sense? Like if you're playing on console, obviously you're going to be playing primarily
I
single
don't
player
like
games,
it.
unless it's in a multiplayer environment, small
How are we
multiplayer
arguing
environment.
this?
I'm saying that
Why is this being argued at all?
there's more people playing consoles, so obviously there's more people playing
But
single player
also
games.
in let's take the PC player base. How many millions of people are playing all MMOs together compared to all single players?
I don't know. This is where I need to see the
I
actual
think
data. Is
MMOs
what I'm
probably
saying.
have like 10%, not more than that. And
That's an
I'm an
interesting
MMO
guess.
player, but like, you know what I mean? Like that's just not what, like, why do like games, the single player AAA single player games are just selling so much more. That's why you want to sell Squadron first, and then with that money fund the MMO. That
Sure.
also is a live service game, right?
Yeah, but again, like just because somebody buys and plays a single player game doesn't necessarily mean that they don't also enjoy playing MMOs.
No,
That's why I'm saying
portion
like
of people
in
enjoy playing bot, yes, but
yeah,
not the
and
big
then that's why
portion.
I'm saying like until I see an actual like breakdown of like
Okay, but even
studied numbers,
regardless
I
of
can't really
this,
agree to that
are,
statement
are you
or
are
agree
you
or disagree really.
are you disagreeing with me that there are people who don't want to play MMO that will play
No,
Squadron 42?
no,
But
absolutely
that's
not.
what I'm
That's what I'm
saying.
saying. Like, listen to just what I said. I said like I'm not going. I can't agree or
I
disagree with that
know,
statement
but I
until I
went
see the
back.
data.
I went back to, like, you're done with your storyline, and you said, and that's where you get your Oregon PU. And I'm saying, yeah, what if you don't want? You want to stay in that audience system, and you want to keep playing the game.
Yeah.
I just think that that's expected nowadays from single player games.
I don't know. All I have is my own subjective opinion here, and I can tell you that like for the most part, that's not how I play open world games. I usually finish everything I want to do, and then when I'm done with the game, that's when I finish the
Me
storyline.
too,
But like that's just
but
how
we
I
are
do it.
MMO players. On top of that, or like multiplayer game players, like you know what I mean? Like, you played Valheim, and then you switch to playing with your friends, and all of a sudden it's a new play game for you that you really enjoy, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I always did intend to play kind of multiplayer.
I
I just
know.
kind of get distracted in single player. But yeah,
That's why you and me are like the other side, where I don't even need Squadron, but I guess I'll play it.
yeah. I mean, honestly, I, the more the project goes on, the less excited I am for Squadron necessarily. I don't think I ever really was excited about it, to
Oh,
be
I
honest.
know.
Like I played private private. Oh, now that I think about it, Privateer was an open world game. It was like early. Like one of the first open world games that I can remember, anyways.
I mean,
Um,
technically, like Morrowind is open world game, and all the Bethesda, like all the Elder Scrolls
mm,
are.
but like it's always been the PU that's been interesting to me.
Same.
So
And for
the
those who
only
like, if you are in the comments of this YouTube video and you start talking
YouTube
about
talk show,
how, sorry, talk show, and you start talking about how important Squadron 42 is and how we're talking it down and all that, well, you know what? Let me tell you something. Fuck you. I don't give a shit. This is a Star Citizen talk show, okay? It's not Squadron 42 talk show. We touch on it from time to time
okay,
because it's very important for the development of this game. But I don't care if you don't care about Stars. If you don't care about Star Citizen, find another podcast. Basically.
okay, I'm gonna like kind of backpedal from what Chegg just said. Oh, Chegg just said,
That's my opinion,
and
yeah.
and just say that like ultimately you can want Squadron 42 more than
That's
Star
fair. That's
Citizen. That's
okay.
just fine. But like yeah, like
No,
it's
because
yeah,
we had this
it
situation where we
is.
talked about
I'm
it.
not
I
talking
said
it down though. Like
no, but
I
you
have
said
to be clear
you
here.
don't care about it that much, if
Well, I'm not.
at all. And I said the same. And I
Yeah,
remember last time we said this in the comments, we had people being like, "If there was no Squadron 42, there wouldn't be Star Citizen." What I'm not. I'm like, I don't care, dude.
well,
It's a
but
Star Citizen show.
that's where that's the next thing I was gonna say was that like I maybe don't like maybe I'm not as excited for Squadron 42 as Star Citizen, but I still think it's going to be very important for getting the funds together to continue the project
Too
because
important. I agree. I think it's too
you
important
know
because if it flops, we're fucked. That's it.
basically yes, yeah,
So I want
yes,
it to succeed, even though I don't give a shit about the game. But yeah.
yeah. I think that that's pretty true. Actually, I think if Squadron 42 crashes and burns, I don't think Star Citizen, at least as far as they're as far as they want to take it, anyways. It's not going to
Yes,
happen.
and I will say this again. I will feel like they literally wasted my money and money of a lot of other people who only care about Star Citizen, or making a fucking single player game that I don't care about. And I did
Yeah,
not know that I'm funding, but that we talked about this already.
yeah,
uh, all right, so I honestly hope that it's going to be open world. I think it will be. I honestly think it will be. I think they're going to be smart about how to keep it on rails when it's necessary, and I think Squadron 42 will be a great game. Hopefully, not like I think it will be. Okay, I think it will be. Um,
I think so too. I mean, just from what I've seen so far, like even in the super rough state that the vertical slice was in, it still looked like fun. I still
sure.
wanted to play it.
I,
Like
well, I don't trust them when it comes to like them giving us the information that way in a video form or whatever. I mean, I know that was a playthrough and all
it was a
that, but
playthrough.
yeah,
Yeah, like
I saw long parts of it, but I just don't trust them with this. And this is where like as we go, like, and they don't tell me this and they don't tell me that, and then they make fun of me, believing that they should have and whatnot, and then we come to the point where I'm like, yeah, this is not Star Citizen, so I don't know if that's Squadron, but I do think they can make an amazing game. Um, and I think it's much easier for them to make. Let me put it this way: if they can make an MMO that is really good, it's so much easier for them to make a single player
yes,
game
yeah,
that looks fucking amazing, right?
yeah,
So do I believe they can do it? Absolutely, I do. I
yeah.
just hope that Richard Tyler is not deciding what's fun in Squadron 42.
No, that's not his job, thankfully.
Okay, I don't know.
But yeah, he's strictly PU, which honestly, that's worse. That's worse. Worse.
I don't know. I mean, like Star Citizen coming in 10 years, so they have time to replace him. But
Hopefully.
If Squadron comes out and it is not fun to play, then we're all fucked. So don't
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
again? I don't
Yeah.
want Richard Tyler to lose his job or anything. I'm sure he is more than capable developer, and he deserved his
I'm really
place.
just hoping that we're misinterpreting stuff he's saying,
Or
or
he
maybe that
doesn't
he
know
feels
how. Again,
like he's
that's not
pushed into saying some things. Like, I hope that's the
Well,
case.
well, sure, it's a possibility, but then again, that's miscommunication where we need Jared to explain this to us, or
Yep.
someone needs to, because that's not
Oh,
raw. So someone needs to explain to us
here's
what they mean.
here's some more salt. Did you notice that Jared was talking up how he didn't have to ask any questions and he just got to let them talk again
I on
in
purpose
calling
did
them
not want
devs?
to bring this up because I already talked about this several times, and
Jared, ask some damn follow-up questions.
I think Jared is an
Thank you.
amazing doer, but I really don't think he's doing his job as well as he
I
could.
Well, yes. The last thing I want is to hear you say that you didn't have to say anything because you're our voice there, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah,
Like
he's straight
you
up
you
not
should
doing his job.
you should always be taking everything that all the noise that we're yelling at you in Spectrum and all other forms of social media, that shit has to be distilled to a point where you are asking what we are asking because you are like basically our gateway, to these developers, except for, the interaction that we get via Spectrum. But for these big, high production value, quote unquote, high production value, like developer videos and shit like that, like you're our guy. You are our gateway to these people, and we rely on you to ask questions,
Also,
not
since
sit back and let them talk about marketing, you
since
know.
Masocast is literally talking to you directly, Jared, what the fuck are you doing? What listening to a podcast for 3 hours already? Why are you not
Buddy's
doing
got to work
something more
too.
productive? I'm kidding.
Oh, come
I'm
on.
kidding. um,
I would be honored. I would be honored
I
if
would as well.
anybody from CIG was like throwing our podcast on in the background and
That'd be cool.
listening to us armchair dev.
I don't think we're there yet, but
No.
I mean, there's 10 years before the release, so there's time for us to get there. Here's the Jared problem. This was not on our agenda, but I think Jared is too involved in the project and knows way too much to be good to be
Hmm.
between us and them. And the reason I'm saying this is because I, as you guys know already, unless you're new, as in Jared always says, it's the first show for someone always. But I play Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and they do dev live streams every now and they have this girl who is, I think she's also community manager or something, and she's reading the chat and asking questions, and she plays the game, but she obviously plays she's like, oh, I'm excited about this plane that is coming, but she doesn't know, like she never developed for a Sobo. She's not a developer, she is a community person, and her
Right.
questions are in line with chat questions, and it's so fucking good because they will answer the question from the chat and she will be like, what do you mean?
You know who was really good? Sandy.
Who is Sandy?
Sandy Gardner, Chris Roberts' wife.
Oh, his wife.
Um,
She was probably good for that.
well,
Maybe
specifically
she
the
should
the
not do
best.
marketing and
I don't think she
switch
is
to.
actually, to be honest. I don't think
Oh,
she's
that's
in
what I've heard.
marketing
I don't
anymore.
know anything about her.
But there was one episode of Ask the Chairman or whatever, or 10 for the Chairman, where it was her asking the questions instead of I can't remember who
You
used to
know,
do it. It
you
might
know
have been
who'd be
Disco.
super good for it? Zinnia.
Well, in this case, actually, like, because Sandy's his wife, she can ask whatever she wants. It doesn't have to, like, it doesn't have to worry about getting fired. And man, like, the questions she was firing were just like bang, bang, bang. Like, it was just like didn't let him sidestep at all. Anytime he tried to kind of like wiggle around something, she was just like, nope, answer the question.
Which is why she's not doing that anymore, probably.
And
One thing that
it
I'm
was
gonna
good.
say about her, she doesn't have camera presence as good as Jared.
No, no, she really doesn't.
She was
But
bad at that. Jared is really good
yeah,
at that because that's his profession, I think.
that's true. Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't know. And now that I know that Jared was part of some other teams, um, because he's been talking about that on Twitter lately, I just feel like he just knows too much.
You know what? Too. Again, like I mean, it sounds like we're shitting on Jared, and I
No, I love the
legitimately
guy.
do. Yes, yeah, I do. But I have to say, like, it was really refreshing. There was one time where one of the writers came on and was the host of it was around the verse or something. Anyways, like just a different face, and that was actually really refreshing because the type of questions that he asked and how he kind of hosted was different, so you got a different perspective
Mm.
on, on where things went and stuff like that. That's another thing that I think would be cool, like throw Xylo on there one day or something like that, or
You
like,
you know,
s-
you can
get some
see
other people to host.
when Jared is either in a position where he knows that people who are like last calling is that calling all devs,
Yeah,
where you have Tyler and what's his name, Sean Tracy, and he more or less does not have any authority over them, so he's more like not incentivized, I guess, to steer the direction of the conversation. Or he has someone like Jeremiah Lee, who they obviously function offline as well, as like, they have that synergy as like almost two friends talking to each other. And then some situations where he's talking to some designers where he knows obviously what they're talking about because he has the experience. And then you haven't, which I don't like. Whenever he's doing any of these, I don't like it. And then you have him talk to like Pedro Camacho, for example,
yeah,
where he doesn't know, and then he's actually asking questions that make sense and help us
yeah,
understand.
yeah,
And this
yeah.
is where I think Jared Huckerby should maybe be replaced. Or like be in charge of this department or something and bring someone. They hired people from the community, man. Like hire Salty Mike. Well, you might regret that, but like someone from the community, like maybe board game or whatever the fuck, or someone who knows about the game but does not know the back end of the game at all, so that they can be like literally what you're supposed to be, translate our questions to them and their answers to us, right?
I kind of like that. That's kind of interesting, actually. An interesting idea. Like, what if you just like opened, I don't know, maybe not next great starship style, but something like that, like opened it up and basically let people like, I don't know, audition maybe? Because like you'd have to make sure that people have a degree of like camera
Oh, for sure, you
presence,
can't just have anyone,
equipment,
right? Yeah.
but like, but
But
that
you
would
have
be neat.
abundance of people who would join this.
And who'd be good for it? But like,
Yeah.
how do you avoid that, or how do you do that and avoid people screaming about streamers getting, too much access
Yeah,
or
simple.
whatever?
They can't stream the game anymore, and you pay them. They can stream other stuff.
Oh, oh,
Oh, that
but then
happens,
you just
bro. That
okay, but
happens
then
all the
you end
time.
up sure,
What?
sure, sure, but then you end up with the like that. That's Jared. Like that's what Jared was a fan. Jared was like a content creator and then got hired, and now Jared is. So I just think you'd end up with the same situation.
Then 5 years from now, replace that guy.
Just like a rotating.
I mean, what? Keep them. I don't think Jared. I think Jared
Here's
can
the
be
other
in
thing.
charge of that department or whatever the fuck. Like, I don't want Jared out of the picture. He's like
Yeah.
fucking pillar of this game. You know
Well,
what I mean?
I mean, he's already said that he's if it was last week. I don't know. It was something he mentioned where like
Yeah,
technically this
yeah.
isn't his job anymore.
Well,
Like
that's what
what
I'm
he's doing.
saying. Because that's what I'm saying. You're saying he's a fan, but he's not. He's been doing a lot
No,
of
no, no.
things behind the scenes. That's
Sure,
what I'm
but
saying.
he's what I'm saying is he started as a fan and then
Sure.
got hired by CIG and
Yeah.
now he is where he is. You know what I mean?
Which is a
And
problem, in my
I
opinion.
think there's a value in keeping it so it's not somebody who's hired by CIG because at that point
Yeah, but that,
they
like, if you're
CIG
not
doesn't really
hired,
have
then you
a
don't have a contract, then you can say whatever the fuck. You can say an
yeah.
N word in the middle of Chris Roberts talking to.
Oh, cool. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's got to be some sort of like vetting process or
You
something
need
like
a
that.
contract,
Obviously,
brother, for a
maybe a
project that
contract.
is that
Sure,
is
you could be on. you could be on a contract, but it doesn't mean you have to be employed by them. You know what I mean? Because I think not being employed by them gives you that
Wait, what do you
ability to
wait,
ask
wait.
questions that an employee that couldn't necessarily. You know what
What's
I
wrong
mean?
with being employed? It's an alpha project. What I want is you can be employed remotely, right? So let's say Captain Richard. I don't know where he's from, but I don't think he's from Texas or wherever their studio is. And he is doing his thing, but he's employed by CIG. By the way, he would not be my choice 100%, but I'm just saying for an example. So
Okay.
he's technically employed by CIG, which means he's under NDA. He's, all these things that you need to keep it under control. We don't need Jared to dig out the answers. We need Jared to translate the answers and to translate our questions. That's
Well,
what we need.
personally, I kind of get angry when he translates the answers. Like, I'm okay with him asking clarifying questions, but I don't like how he will how he'll
More
take
like no, no,
something
no.
they
Sorry,
said
that
and
was
then answer
I
the
was wrong.
question.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't like
I
that.
don't want that either. I want him to translate the question to the
Yes,
dev,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I want him to pick him until we get the answer we can understand. Right? So that this guy says, "Well, taka taka taka," and this this is coming in the next patch, and we're like, which patch? Is it
Yeah, yeah,
313 or
exactly.
314? And then the dev says, "Oh, 314." Oh, okay. We don't know that, right? So that's what we need.
Yes.
But the
I
problem is
agree to that.
Jared knows this, so that's why he's not asking it because he knows that. So in the back of
I
his mind, he doesn't think like, "Oh, the people don't know this."
Yeah, but again, like, how I don't know, like, that's why I still think, like, somebody who's
Is this imagination station? Because
I
we're trying
yeah,
to
actually.
employ someone in CAG, which is
You know what? That's
ridiculous.
fine, actually. I like this better than How to Taxi Ships anyways.
Oh, this is gonna be short, but I kind of like that.
Um, I guess you're right. Like, if you are technically employed or whatever, but I still think you could have, like, somebody not employed and just have them under contract for something if they wanted to. But
Well, it doesn't
but
matter.
they it would
I
have
mean,
they would have to be somebody who's still an outsider enough that they are able to kind of, like, know what it's like being on the outside.
so I just want a passionate, probably content creator, any content creator, who is not working inside CAG so that he doesn't have that communication with the devs and knows things. So that he has, not because there's nothing wrong with that, except for you don't have that notion of additional questions to clarify something because you know. And I don't know, right?
Mhm.
So it doesn't have to be necessarily employed. I don't need this person to be in their office or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
I
No,
just
in fact,
I
we
just
we
want them
don't
to be
want them
paid for
in.
it. And here's
Ah,
the thing: I applied for to be community manager of certain projects that I would stream at the time, and I fully was aware that if I get employed, I cannot either stream completely. I'm done with that for as long
yeah,
as I'm employed, or I cannot stream that specific game anymore
yeah.
because it's conflict of interest and whatnot. Not to mention that if Jared streamed Star Citizen, can you imagine the questions in the stream? Like,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Just be constant. He wouldn't be streaming the game anymore. He'd
yeah,
be doing, like, a Q&A basically
yeah,
for however
yeah,
long he was streaming
in
it.
his free time, which is ridiculous. So therefore, I think it would be cool if it's someone who can give up their streaming of Star Citizen
Right.
and but then be paid for it. In that term, I just don't want someone to be used to do this. I want someone to
Yeah.
be paid for. That's when I say employed by them. That's all. On their pay list or our pay list.
Or they just need to just make a deal with Board Gamer to just answer that guy's questions. When that guy asks something in Spectrum, those get answered.
Just hire Board Gamer, man. Like he's
He
not my
doesn't wanna be
favorite.
hired.
Well, then hire Zinnia. I'm sure
This is the
CIG
thing,
would pay. What do you
like
mean he doesn't want to be hired? Everyone has a price,
no,
bro.
no, he said he doesn't want to.
Oh, did
And
they
I
did they
also I
offer?
No, but he like, it's something that's come up a bunch of times in his QA and stuff like Q&As or
Mm.
whatever, or Ask
Yeah,
Me
but would
Anything.
you listen? also as a big content creator, you wanna seem like you don't want it rather than they would never offer it. Okay? You wanna be on top of
I
the
don't know,
game,
man.
bro.
I just
Dude, if
think
you
like
see the
you say that
zeros,
everybody has their price, but like
if they
if
offered him and he declined, okay. Like I was
like let's
streaming for Bethesda official stream team and then I left it because I do not agree with them. Right? So now if they offered me again, I would say no thank you.
I think if it's a money thing, personally, if I were him, I wouldn't give up content creation.
That's different. Well, yeah.
Just because like he's already like locked
Okay,
in a
okay. From
following and
that
it's and
perspective, for
yeah.
sure, because he's making solid money. But then, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. They can provide more. I don't know.
I
And
don't
Xenia can continue working on his channel, and then he can come back to it 5 years later. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, there's also.
yeah.
It doesn't. I don't even. I would. There are better content creators that I would like there more
Sure, but like
than
when you
Board
look at
Gamer. But
that guy's questions that he puts up on the spectrum, like
oh, he's
like
good.
oftentimes, yeah, like that guy has his finger on the pulse of this game. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And like the questions he's asking are good questions. So
Because most
if
of
they
these
didn't
questions come
hire
from his community,
and
which is massive.
exactly, exactly, right? So that's perfect. Just listen to the questions that that guy's saying because like most of the time they're on point and
But these people who are asking questions and other content creators have this. Take anyone who is doing this. So Salty Mike, which I also don't know if he would even agree. This is all like fucking imagination, this bullshit. But then you have
this is the imagination station.
then you have Super Mac Brother Ryan. I think he would do an amazing job. He has community big enough. His questions are there as well, man. Like I don't know.
I
Well, you
don't
might not like it,
know.
but I think
No,
he
no,
could do
okay.
it.
I'll clarify. I like Super Mac Brothers Ryan, but I think he tends towards the White Knight too often.
Well, not he does now, but I think he could. With that doesn't matter. He's not.
It
He's there.
does because
No. Wow.
it well if he is the guy who's up front and asking the questions and he
No,
says,
he's not
"Here's
asking the
my question,
questions.
guy."
Stop. Jared Huckerby is not asking questions, dude. We are looking for someone who can do Jared Huckerby's job. He is translating my question if a dev does not answer properly.
Yeah, but even then, basically what I'm saying is Super Mac Brothers Ryan strikes me as the type of person who is more likely to take no for an answer than dig or ask follow-ups.
That's fine because if a dev will keep saying no, then that's the answer.
Well, that's fair, but
But
still I
if
don't
dev
want it to
does not
just be like,
understand what the question was,
here's my sidesteppy
well,
answer,
you'll
here's
have
me
that
trying to get around the
always.
question, and then instead of just being, like instead of pressing to see if you can get something out of them, just being like, okay, well that's what we have right now. So
Well, I don't think they would ever have someone who will make the devs uncomfortable. Let's not forget that they are under
I'm not
NDAs
asking
and
no, I'm
they're
not asking for that.
I just want the dev to understand what I asked. And then if his answer is I cannot answer that, that's fine.
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah. For that you can be a
And if
white knight.
that's well,
It
no, but
shouldn't
here's
make
the
a
thing.
difference.
No, but for example, like
Okay, it's not Super Mac Ryan. Brian
okay,
brother
Ryan,
Ryan.
yes.
It's Tomato,
Super Mac Ryan.
for example. Or I don't know. Like there's more than one person. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I want somebody there. Like if we were picking a person or whatever, I'm just saying like
I
I
shouldn't.
would want
I'm just
somebody
saying there are people,
who's going to like press a
understand.
point, you
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
instead of just letting the easy ones slide by, you
Um,
know what I mean? And if the final answer is like I actually can't tell you,
that's okay.
fine. But like don't let me think like the last thing I want is to feel like we just
Void, like
let a
you're in the
good
void. You don't
question
understand
yeah,
what the answer is.
just let a question slide by without any follow-up.
I just want to tell you, I did not press record. I'm kidding.
Oh, that's why my text disappeared. When my slobs crashed, I lost the text that says recording. I didn't know that those things were connected, Chegg.
My fault. Okay. So, where are we? Oh shit. Okay, we had another topic which we
Nah,
can touch. No, next
no.
time. All right,
What
cool.
time are we at?
3 hours.
Like, yeah. See that, and that one's not really gonna go super stale.
Yeah.
Like we're still we're
Okay.
still gonna be here until at least 3:14, and possibly no, probably
No.
longer.
Well, I think I'm gonna be like that for 10 years. So let's see. But we can talk about it. That's cool. Anyways, so we now that we teased it, just the topic that we had is how do we snap out of our cynicism when the game or project is making it difficult. And yeah, we can talk about this next week because we have a lot and we're already at third hour. So yeah, if you want to hear about that, next week. Unless we come up with something more fun.
It
Whatever.
happens.
Yeah.
Stuff gets
But it's
booted
there.
down
We
the
have
road, and
it.
it's
And
fine.
we know we're being cynical at times and we would like to be more well friendly towards the project, but sometimes we're just passionate. Like I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's
No,
nope. We're gonna save this. We're
we'll
gonna
save that
save
for
this.
you. I just want to clarify what we were talking about. That's all. All right. So we imagined Jared Huckerby's future, but the actual imagination station is much less. It should be too long. It's but so before the show to ease us into this conversation, Maso and me were looking into like what's coming with the next Invictus and whatnot, and the Bengal is being a carrier. We talked about Kraken as well being a carrier, and we talked about Idris and how it would be cool if you can like fly into Bengal maybe to see that part of the interior as you guys heard, and that threw me off. I was like, wait, on the carrier, you land your plane with wheels out.
Yep.
There's like few different ways of how the ship itself will help you stop yourself with the ropes and whatnot. If you guys don't know how planes stop on carriers, I strongly suggest checking this out on YouTube. There's some amazing footage for that when they do and when they miss it. It's fucking amazing and impressive how simple of a device keeps a fighter jet on board. And my thing was like, how the fuck do you land in and taxi to whatever your designated area? Because like I've said, I play flight simulator, and when I land on the airport, I call the ATC and ask them for permission and directions to taxi towards my parking spot, basically. And they tell me your second exit left, and then follow that line until you get, and there's like a spot for me to park.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how?
You can't do that in Star Citizen when your landing gear doesn't have wheels on it.
And even when you have wheels, if it has wheels, you can't drive it because we have ships with wheels. 300 series have it. 85X has it. Fucking 85X. You
Does the
motherfucker
100
who
series have
made it? Why did you not change the
Oh
lights?
no, not the lights again.
Green on the right side, please. Okay. Yes, 300 series has wheels.
The
As a matter
100.
of fact, when you land 300 series or 85X, the wheels turn. And this is kind of funny. It makes sense. When you land the Freelancer, you still slide as if you had wheels, but you don't have wheels, right? So some Gladius, I think, has wheels.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Oh yeah, it doesn't. You're right. Arrow doesn't have wheels.
Most ships don't. Most ships have struts or feet, and that's where the question was like, how do we taxi? Like, if you're landing in a Bengal, how do you get from where you landed to the side of the flight deck where you go through the elevator or down the elevator into the hangar areas below?
And the solution was you land on 3 trolleys or 4, and then people push around. That's why we have trolleys in game.
That honestly, that's one of the that was my imagine was like, well, if you're a fighter, you land basically on the flight deck, and part of the crew's job, part of the flight crew that comes out there is basically like a big
Platform, right?
jack, like a lift jack or something. It basically slides underneath the ship and then just jacks it up like a couple inches and then wheels
I
it
mean,
off
you
and
could
repositions it.
technically EVA until someone, places something under you and then you land because you can wear helicopters effectively.
Yeah, and like sure, like with the current flight controls, absolutely I could just basically stay hovering and then just move myself to the side of the hangar and set myself down. But like I don't know, man. I mean, at least when we've seen cutscenes of them like taking off from the flight deck of the Bengal or whatever, or the Stanton, the UES Stanton in like cutscenes and stuff. Like when that ship comes up, it's not like perfectly steady. It's kind of like rocking around or whatever, which I really would love to see
This is
more
another
of.
thing. Like what happens with my if I'm hovering and I fly into the deck of Idris or Bengal, and that ship still moves and flies,
Mm.
what am I going to like be banged into a sidewall, or is it going to move with me? Am I part of
Yeah,
that atmosphere?
i-
It's
if it's realistic or whatever, no, you absolutely like until you touch down on that deck. If
yeah,
that Idris
exactly.
moves, you're gonna slam into the
Which is why
into.
I feel like all these, especially Arrow, should have wheels. Because its wings even
Well,
fold. It's like obviously a
you
carrier
could
type
still
of
have
ship.
the feet. It just mean like like you've seen Battlestar at this point all the way through, right? You know when they do the combat landings and they basically like they don't have wheels either. They just like hammer into the
They're
hangars and
not
just like
flying into
bang
they're not
bang.
flying
They
into a moving ship though. Their
sure they are.
mothership mostly is just stationary and then jumps.
Well, okay, sure, but well, I mean, anyways, whatever. We won't go there. And
They could
everything is
probably do
relative.
it, but
Everything's
it's like an extreme maneuver.
yes, exactly. It's like their combat landings. Like I've always kind of like interpreted that as like, ship is moving, small ships are moving faster, and basically that's why like they're basically just like hit the deck, bang, 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 just get down as
Yeah.
fast as possible so that you're at least grounded if that ship decides that it needs to change course for or accelerate or decelerate,
By the
rapidly.
way, landing in Battlestar Galactica over exaggerated. There's no way they wouldn't have better system for landing. Literally, there's less chaos when a fucking MiG lands on an aircraft carrier. Which, if you think about it, it's crazy because of the winds, ship moving, motion of the ocean, landing gear, wheels, everything, and just it lands with less like chaos. I think that was more for purpose of looking crazy.
Karma, maybe.
Yeah, which is fair. I mean, I don't want to take away from it, but I think
Well, they
like
did also say that most of the time that didn't like. Do you remember in one of the first episodes, um, was when Apollo flies up in his like fancy new
mm,
Viper, and he basically asks for the like ship's computer to land him because that's how it's
auto
normally done,
landing.
like
Yeah,
in the modern, um, the modern carriers or whatever. And they're like, we don't have that. This ship's too old, you know.
yeah.
Um,
So
and
maybe
he
it's
has to come
explained
in
as
manual.
like incompatible
Yeah,
ships, kind of.
well, and
Which
just like it was like the Galactica was built in an era where any networked computer was vulnerable.
mm,
So it was like zero assists. And you're
yeah.
right, I still think they probably would have a better option, but like that's how I thought of it was like they do have a better option. It's just it's too high tech and it's vulnerable
I mean,
to
in Star Citizen, if you bang your ship every time you land on a carrier, who the fuck is going to land on a carrier? Or like what,
fighters
you know?
fighters that are owned
I
by the
guess the
military.
solution is you land on a carrier when the carrier is stationary,
Yeah. Yeah,
basically.
like you'd only
That would
be
make
coming in
sense.
hot if it's like an emergency kind of a thing.
Which
Like
is then you don't mind banging it as long as you survive, I guess.
sure, but even then the question still remains like there has to be something to pick up that fighter from wherever it lands
What
and
about
move it
a
because I
ground
still think it's
a ground
well,
vehicle that has tractor beam?
yeah, I think it would be cooler if you see a jack go underneath it and lift it up than a tractor beam,
Sure, but
but
I think from development standpoint, that's probably the easiest way because we have tractor
you'd even
beams
you could even just have one like so like the flight decks have like a big industrial strength
from the
like
roof, right?
Yeah, like on the roof or something. So it just
that
basically
are
picks the ship up
automated, I
and
guess.
moves it.
And then
Yeah,
you would have to like
that's
land in a
something.
designated area, which again, without
Yeah.
wheels, man, it would
Well,
be
here's the
so much easier if we had wheels. It's like ridiculous.
sure, but the other thing that I still think, well, okay, no, wheels would
Wait,
kind of
how
negate
how
this as
the
well.
fuck do we not have wheels? You told me about the old flight model where you were not landing as a helicopter. And if you have
What do you mean?
fixed, well, where you could like land like a plane,
No, no, no.
it was always like this. Like you could always EVA
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It always was vertical takeoff landing, and that's the idea, right? But the thing that the downside to that, and this is something we're starting to see now when they're putting in like jet wash and like knockbacks from thrusters and stuff like that. Like, can you imagine how much jet wash would be constant on those flight decks if the ships had to come in and like hover their way to wherever they needed to
Hmm.
like set down so they could go under? Like the amount of like power that is required to keep a
And
ship
also
that
probably the
weighs,
damage of the interior of the carrier as well.
well, yeah, that's easy enough to kind of hand wave away. Space age materials, blah blah blah, you know. But yeah, I mean the potential for
people
damage too
people
when you're
working
like,
on the deck under the fucking VTOL thrusters. Oh, we
God
got
no.
we got what's it?
Let's
Valkyrie incoming. Everyone runs
yeah.
off the deck. Like
Oh,
fuck.
totally. Well, that's the thing, right? Like there's no if there's no futurizing that away, right? Like if you have a thruster that puts out X amount of thrust to lift X amount of mass off of a surface, like that's how much energy is being released.
Yeah.
Like, like there's no getting around that. If it weighs this much, you have to have this much energy coming out the bottom in order to lift that thing up and move it.
Mm.
And if those are jets, that's going to be a lot of energy kind of pumping out there. So yeah, like it would be insanely windy and insanely loud every time a ship would come into land, which I think would
Oh
actually be
shit!
fucking
Loud.
sweet. But
Wait, would it be loud though? Because it's still
oh yeah,
open space. Oh, it can
well,
bounce off the edges of the ship, so it would be
well,
loud.
but like from what we've seen, the flight decks are open, but they're not like they have an air shield. From what we've
Uh-huh.
seen,
Oh
anyways,
yeah,
that's
they
what it
need to
looks
have an
like.
air shield, right?
So like so
Well, do
like
they need to have an air shield? I don't think Idris has an
they
air
could
shield.
have. I think they do. Because hold on, hold on, hold
What
on, hold on.
technology is that? Because we have this insane tavern technology.
Cutlass has an air shield. It's not high tech anymore. It was when they first encountered the Tavaran, but um, it's not anymore.
They're
Cutlass
just
has
like
air shields on the top
their
doors.
way of
But,
like simplifying
um,
things, which is fair.
yeah, yeah. Like ultimately, either that or everybody'd have to be in EVA suits on the flight deck. But honestly,
Which
nobody.
would make sense.
Yeah, but I mean, you know what doesn't make sense? Having people on a flight deck of a a spaceship. You'd be doing everything by drones or like by remote or
Well, what if that was the way? Like you fly into this landing place and then your ship gets basically moved to an engineering deck or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I mean that's
But we cannot because these ships are like open, like they're basically a hole. There's a
yeah.
hole through them. So
The Idris definitely you can't, but the Bengal,
Bengal is the same.
um no, from what I've seen, that top flight deck, like they still store ships on it or whatever, but there's actually like big elevators that go down to a lower deck
Mm.
underneath it, and that's where like the
Also,
hangars and stuff are.
like real carriers.
Yeah, yeah. Um
I
there's been
want
a
to see
couple
that.
pictures of that stuff like that.
I mean, in motion.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what I mean. Ultimately, all we have is concept art right now, but like that
Yeah.
was the concept art,
Well, not for
anyways.
long. Although that part probably is not
Yeah, no, we're not gonna
functional.
see that.
What would be
We'll
cool
see
if
that.
you could fly through Bengal?
Yes, that's what I was saying. I was like, let us get onto the flight deck of the Bengal. Like, it won't happen, but
Even if you
like,
can't
it would be
stop, just
awesome.
like
Yep.
if that's doable, what some content creator, probably French, could stay like somehow manage to stay inside and then wait for other ships to like fly through in that closed environment. And I want to hear the sound of those flybys, dude.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Yep. The noise though, man, like that if it is a pressurized environment that these ships are coming into, yes, like the sound of a ship with its even a small fighter with its engines going to lift it off the deck should be like deafeningly loud.
Mm.
Um and I think that would be sweet personally. Like,
Except for you would need some kind of option to turn it off in game because it's damaging your ears.
you got a helmet on.
Oh
Well, I,
no,
I
I
mean
mean
if you
like
were
in UI, like hey, I don't want to hear extreme noises. I want.
I don't know. All I know is like I don't know how they do that. I guess it'd just be like it'd just be loud to the point where like you couldn't hear anything else that was going on except for
Yeah,
that
there's a
like
limit
jet
where
plane
we can
noise.
hear, but it can blow our eardrums.
Yeah.
I know.
You could just like you could just say that doesn't
Sure,
happen. But like
sure.
how epic would it be to be like on a flight deck and like a fighter starts like powering up its engines and then like somebody's talking next to you and they just get quieter and quieter and quieter until like you don't hear them at all. All
Yeah.
you hear is like the roar of that engine until that ship like actually flies off the deck. Like, I think that'd be amazing. But I also I don't know. I got to do a tour of a carrier when I was really really small, and I just like that. Even though there
Was it
wasn't like any
active?
planes,
Ah,
no, it
okay.
wasn't active or anything. But still, like there was still like there was a helicopter that was like close by or whatever, and like it was loud on top of that deck,
Mm.
even not being fully active or whatever.
Well, have you ever experienced flybys in real life?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's crazy,
yeah.
especially if
My
some of our pilots are fucking nuts in Serbia, and when they do flybys, like it's holy shit. It's like a couple 100 meters above. You
yeah,
people literally like lay on the ground. Fucking morons. And it's fucking loud.
yeah.
Holy shit.
I
But it's
I don't
like
know. I would like that personally. But
yeah.
surprise sound matters to me. I'm the one who
No,
always
but like
goes off about
let's be
sound.
fair. We get mind blown by sound sometimes in this game already.
Yeah.
You
Well,
remember
and
like
it
that French guy with the flyby that like that went a little bit
yes, yeah,
wrong, and it's like that I don't know, that whistle that happened and all that, and I'm like, give me
yeah.
more.
I just want more of the sounds of those sounds when you are like when you're when you're doing things. As we've already talked about this. Like it's kind of silly that you can basically hover in place
And
and there's
nothing,
nothing.
yeah, nothing comes
You
out.
don't like, meanwhile your engines are just like like jetting like crazy to keep you aloft and you don't hear anything.
True.
Yeah. I can't wait until we hear more of that. I will say the sounds are definitely getting better. Even the sound of the Merlin when it comes into dock,
Mm.
awesome. Like
They
you
probably
power
finished all the layers of sounds for that because it's like the new.
yes. Yeah. Like you hear the docking clamps kind of clunk and you hear like the engines start to spool down and it's not just
Mm.
like engines off and they're off. It's like you
Yeah, yeah.
like yeah, want more of that. Anyways, but as
All
far
right.
as taxiing goes, yeah, drones. I like the idea of like a centrally mounted tractor beam in a hangar bay. That would
Mm.
be probably the easiest from a development standpoint. Even though I think it would be cooler to have like a piece of equipment that comes out and like picks it up and moves it. But yeah,
I mean, these ships are heavy, dude. Maybe,
I
yeah,
know
I don't know.
that's not
We're still talking spaceships. You know what I mean? Like lifting
sure.
that is
Well,
insane.
primarily I'm talking about fighters right now. Like, and I know they're
Still,
heavy, but like, but you could absolutely put them on jacks for sure. Like that's something you could lift. I mean,
But
if
if
there's
you
like
have EVA technology, and sorry, if you have like tractor beam
tractor beam, yeah,
technology, why would you not use it in this case? Like, just wouldn't it be
yeah,
reasonable? Unless it's like
yeah, it would.
super expensive when it comes to like whatever resource it's used.
I think it's probably less expensive than it would be to have an actual like thing that like wheeled out, aligned with it, picked it up, and then moved it, and then disengaged, and then moved off. Not to mention
Yeah.
the development time to actually make that thing and then make it work.
Yeah, from development standpoint, I agree. It's
Tractor beam
just
makes more
tractor beam is
sense.
just super easy.
Yeah.
And then it would be cool to have like a ground vehicle with tractor beam, to be fair. Wouldn't it? Like, imagine that chaos.
Yeah.
I would like to see that. All right. The question mark. I just need your yes or no.
Oh, how
320.
long are we? 320. I could do I'll do this one. This one's quick.
Go for it.
Okay, so we saw okay,
Wait.
sorry.
What? What are we talking
Uh
about?
zero effort science section time. And that is something that came across our feeds or whatever from the official Star Citizen channels the other day or last week actually. That I thought was cool and was like a good thing for a zero effort science section. And if for some reason this is your first time here, basically what I do is take something that I think that this section, and I do either something that Star Citizen does well from a scientific perspective or poorly. But in this case, they were talking about some of the plants that we'll encounter um, in Pyro, and I thought this was cool because they talk specifically about a particular type of plant that they harvest for a highly heat resistant chemical. And the reason I think this is cool is that
It just makes
even
sense,
today,
right?
well, plants are really, really good chemical factories, way better than we are today, even.
And the
Um,
fact they're in certain area, right, means that there's a reason why they can survive the extreme
precisely,
conditions, right?
precisely. But specifically, like if you have a natural um, product or a natural kind of like or rather a plant or whatever that can produce this chemical uh better or more easily and less expensive than we can, then it absolutely makes sense that economies would kind of develop around harvesting and utilizing these sorts of chemicals. And it's cool because, like I said, I mean, we do this today, even
Mhm.
like let's use insulin for example. We use a specific chemical, a specific, I think it's a bacteria, no, it's a fungus to produce it for us because it does it better than we'd be able to artificially synthesize it in a lab.
We have
Um,
bacteria on board
oh no,
cruise
sorry, that's
ships that purifies water, and it's like number one concern if anything happens with that, because basically the bacteria itself in these huge tanks is purifying water that has been used in like toilets and whatnot, and is
yeah,
usable again for washing. You don't
yep,
drink this water, but for washing, for like, and it's like you can reuse it as much as you want, as but
yeah,
then obviously if you have like in photo department, they have water that is like that has silver in it and whatnot, that would kill the bacteria. So it's very important that every department is using it properly, and you some things are not allowed. Yeah, but we use this all over the place. It's crazy. Like, we use nature
yeah.
in our advantage.
Um,
Sorry.
well, no, it's just used in a lot of pharmaceuticals as well. Actually,
Mm.
there's a I actually went to a conference where there was a mycologist who was talking, and he was talking specifically about this. He was talking about how much better a lot of these mushrooms that he's studying are at producing complex biochemicals for pharmaceuticals and stuff like that than we are. And actually, it's kind of interesting. He said something like For us right now, the last time that we've been able to uh, manufacture an artificial complex biochemical, like a brand new one, was back in the 70s.
Because we just
Every
got
time,
better at like finding a natural resource, or
well, no, just that we bottomed out. Like like we may be better at it now, but most of what we've been using in the pharmaceutical industries that are synthesized kind of biochemicals like this are just like they're really old because it's turns out it's really fucking hard to build
yeah.
these like very complex um carbon carbon compounds and stuff like that when you're talking about like on a molecular level, but these plants just do it. So,
Yep.
anyways, when I saw this coming, or when I saw this come in the sneak peek or whatever, I was just like, "Oh, that's so cool! That totally makes sense."
It makes so much sense. If you go back to like the very basic stuff, like people who live in cold regions use animal fur because guess what? A bear or a wolf. I mean, it's an animal. It's not a plant, but they have their own. Like, they are adapted to this, and we just use their own adaptation. So the same goes
Yeah,
for the plants, right? And it would make sense that the plants that are in pyro are very like they have developed a way to get some kind of heat immunity that we
yeah,
can
or
use in
or
fibers and have like,
radiation resistance, like
yeah,
anything that
yeah,
evolves in an environment around a red dwarf is going to have to be highly resistant to radiation because these, especially pyro specifically, it's a it's a flare star. It puts off like incredible bursts of high intensity radiation. So yeah, like yeah. Anyways, I thought that was really cool. Um, the one thing that doesn't really make a ton of sense is like if it was useful for harvesting textiles and stuff like that, they'd probably be growing it by now. Um, but I don't know,
maybe we
maybe
will. You know
it's
how we have those, but then again, you gotta
yeah,
grow it in like very specific conditions where it probably, in order to function, needs to be exposed to radiation. And then
sure.
would that,
So why aren't they farming it in pyro?
but we don't know they are not, right?
It's true. I guess they might be, but like
Or we might.
well, that's what I'm saying. I think basically if it were something that were that useful, it wouldn't be down to like, harvesters probably going out and picking it. But I don't know, who knows? I could be wrong.
Maybe
Ultimately,
it's
I
rare. Maybe
guess
it's like extremely rare.
I can't really say that because like there's especially here where I live, like there is a big market for people who go out and pick wild pick mushrooms.
We have that here as
Um,
well.
like some of the most valuable mushrooms in the world come from the Haida Gwaii and Queen Charlotte Islands. And like every year around mushroom picking time, there's just like tons of people that flood in there to pick these mushrooms. I don't know why they aren't farming them. Maybe you can't.
I don't think
I don't
again
know,
it's like
but
tartuffes. How do you guys call it? Tartuffe? How do you call it?
I don't know.
The mushrooms
I
that
don't know
that
specifically what
grow
it is.
underground. They're edible and extremely expensive, and they're being dug out by dogs and pigs. And we have
Right?
them
Yeah,
here in
yeah, yeah.
Croatia, and you just can't grow them on your own. It just does not fucking happen. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just not the same.
So
And
it's possible that
holy
it's that.
shit, that's expensive. The problem is,
Yeah.
what pigs and dogs want to eat that. So you gotta
Yeah.
teach them how to. If they don't, they get something in return, which is fucked up. And if they eat one, you've lost like thousands of euros.
Ye-
So
oh, is it that much? Wow. Okay.
it's very fucking like it's so strong that like a tiny piece of it can, in like a soup, for example, gives it very strong taste, and then the plate of soup made of it is very expensive and whatnot. So maybe
The ones
I'm
that
over exaggerating now, but like a lot.
come from my region are matsutake mushroom, pine
That
mushroom.
sounds Japanese.
Yeah, but apparently they're one of the most expensive culinary mushrooms in the world. But yeah.
Uh,
Anyways,
yeah. I'm trying to
um,
find. Wait.
mushroom
Eh,
podcast, go.
yeah. Okay, so I'm trying to see truffle. Truffle. You don't know about that?
Oh, truffles? Yeah, yeah,
Truff.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Oh,
That's
and
what we have here.
I knew that they had pigs to
Yeah,
find
pigs
them,
and
truffle
dogs,
pigs
and
and
they
stuff
grow
like
on the
that. Yeah,
ground.
yeah.
So apparently, this region here is, especially like Croatian coast, is really rich with this. The problem is you can't find it because it's underground.
Right.
Yeah, they're very, very expensive.
Well,
All right,
that's pretty much it.
we have questions. I know
I
we
do
have
have a question.
questions.
A question, I think. Oh, hold on.
Well,
Where
I
did my
think there was
window
more
go?
than one. Yeah,
No, I think it's just
no,
Micker.
thicker. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it great that you can turn your friend into a human kebab on the Rock DS by hanging out to fry on a super hot moon?
I did not know you
Yes,
can, but
that that is great. No, you know we could. There's no protection for the guys, so you just like go to like Ariel or something and let them fry.
oh, okay. I thought maybe using the laser would speed that up. Can you
Oh,
kill
I'm
someone with
certain
like
that would.
rock with ROC laser or not?
Yes.
Because
No, you definitely can.
ship lasers can deal a lot of damage. We know that,
Yeah.
which I think they should change. But
Didn't I was well, actually I shouldn't say that they definitely can. I seem to remember though listening or watching a
I'm not sure
video
about
earlier this
ROC.
week where somebody was talking about driving the ROC into the caves with the baddies and mowing
Oh
them down with the
shit!
mining laser.
And then DS has longer range. Actually,
That's, that would actually really be quite terrifying if you just and everybody
yeah.
just gets like lopped in
So
half.
listen, I told you about, and we're going to talk about this in like this Wednesday in our Stanton gossip. But um, Morphologist made a video about DS, and I strongly suggest watching this. And he has this really cool like split screen at some point where he has a laser of the ROC and then the laser of DS, and holy, the range is double when you just use it like that. Holy shit, it's
I
much longer range.
I
And
mean, yeah.
well, no, no, no.
I
We both don't like DS, but I want to tell you.
yeah.
And then when you are mining, it's actually different. It's easy. It's much easier and faster to mine with DS than, because it's more powerful and like easier
Is
to
it?
like.
Okay,
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
was gonna say, does that range actually make that
yeah, yeah.
much of a difference?
Well, power does, not range, but the range
Yeah.
probably will in certain situations. I found I have an idea.
Evolve.
I gotta try it when they bring it. I'm not paying that shit. But like when it comes
No,
to
God.
um PU, when I can buy it for Alpha UC, I want to park that shit on my Nomad, and then I want to see if I can actually
Will
mine
you be able
from the. So I park my Nomad and I just get out, or I have you, like I have you in the ROC or someone, in the mining seat, and I fly from
okay, we're
like
not talking
place to
about the
place.
DS.
Well,
We're not talking about the DS.
DS is better because
Yeah, but it
um
won't fit in the
it
Nomad, will it?
fits. Fits.
It does?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, that
And
surprises me.
so you can like, I can fly around and you can like be in that thing and just like mine collect, and we go to the next one, mine collect, and in that case it can be interesting. However, it's a complete failure. Even if that works, it's just like a gimmicky way of using it, not really what it's
Yeah,
supposed to be.
yeah.
But yeah. All right. Um, you said 3 hours 30 minutes. We are exactly 3 hours 32 minutes.
Perfect.
It's a
That's
perfect time to end the show. Um, if anyone's still watching, do you want to sign us off?
sure. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. And we would definitely appreciate it if you like this content to throw us a like because it makes us feel good when we see that. Also, if you have comments, we're usually pretty active and we have some good conversations that happen in our comments over the last few videos. So thank you guys for that. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't, because again, that makes us feel warm and fuzzy inside.
And
But
we
yeah,
need to make it so that Jared can actually hear what Maso is telling.
yeah,
So
yes, yeah.
directly, that's the reason.
We need to get big so that we can talk at Jared.
Yeah.
and have him listen. So
and bring the new community manager or whatever. Okay, I'm done. Yeah, thank you for being here. Much appreciated. Have a great rest of your day and the upcoming week. Stay healthy, stay safe. We'll see you Wednesday. Bye bye.
bye.